Welcome to Freaky Fast Broadcasting, and tonight we are back here for our final time on Tuesday nights with the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series as they take on the Worldwide Technology Raceway, otherwise known as Gateway. It's going to be quite, I think, the race here tonight, but we got a great sponsor out here for it. It's going to be the Scootielou 200 here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. And tonight here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, my name is Zach Hall. Going to be joined alongside tonight. Once again, it's going to be Hunter Hayward. As Hunter, we have come now to such a different racing circuit on the schedule and a crucial time here as they're closing down to the end of their regular season. This could be a very critical race here tonight. What do you expect we're going to see here at this very interesting track here in Missouri?
Well, Zach, I'm not really too sure what to expect. I know Worldwide Technology Raceway can produce a lot of very interesting races. The turns are completely different from how they're treated to the cars. Turns 1 and 2 are completely different from 3 and 4, almost like a Darlington-esque track. The drivers have been a little hectic in practice I've seen so far, so I'm excited to see how this race turns out. But 175 laps here tonight, Zach. This should be an interesting one.
It really will be an interesting one for sure as you folks tune in here. And it's going to be our final time, like we said, here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting for the season. So we'll be going back to Pit Stop TV, so make sure you check them out when they get everything, back rolling up for them next Tuesday nights. So that's going to be awesome to see them close out here the playoffs at BRB and really get to see who closes out this season on top, as it's been a fantastic time getting to cover this ourselves as the final few minutes here of practice start to click away. About 8 minutes left. This has been quite a battle here in these final few races in the regular season since this update has came out, and we've seen a few drivers definitely really shine and start to take control of this season, Hunter. And I know you weren't able to be here with us last week, but definitely the competition, as you would know, always steps up when it gets closer to that playoff time.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at the point standings right now, Dustin Stallings with a pretty comfortable lead, 68 points ahead of the 15 of Ronnie Osmer. And I think Dustin Stallings is just coming in week and week out, showing that he's the man to beat. It should be interesting to see how he's able to respond at this racetrack, especially a track that's pretty difficult for most drivers to handle. I know there's a lot of drivers out there like the 24 of Isaiah Sutherland and 13 of Kyle Heath that are still searching for their first win. Maybe this is the track that they can show themselves that, hey, we're top 5 drivers and we're going to go out here and we're going to win it.
It's been very interesting so far. I mean, you see, like you said, Stallings has been almost in control, and also getting his second win of the season there, adding in that total has really been a crucial part for him. Ronnie Osmer has been so good also. He's been consistent, and it's just really been the strength of Stallings throughout the stages, because I think a lot of these other drivers have had some good finishes. We don't see even Christian Barnes here. We saw Johnny Wood Jr. win in our stint here. It's been, Dakota Camper also won a race there. Gray Walker also in Indianapolis just a week ago, saving the fuel. So a lot of people are coming into the mix, but you got guys like Dylan Yeager who have been struggling here lately, have dropped below that cut line. Sam Dyer, he hasn't got the stage points. He's been getting good finishes, but those stage points still hurt him a ton, because right now Sam Dyer is still well outside that cut zone. He needs to really get as many points as possible. Same for Joshua Parent, Scott Fritz, Braxton Skinner, and Andrew Attell right here.
Yeah, Zach, these are usually the tracks where you don't expect the people who are all the way up front to be up front. This is the track where a lot of people come out here and they shock you. It's a place where, the driving style is just completely different, where sometimes the front pack drivers are completely thrown off, and we see somebody who's right on that bubble line dominate the race or be up front all week. So it should be a really interesting race to see how it turns out. I know a lot of these drivers are pretty darn skilled when it comes here. Right now we have Dustin Stallings leading practice with a 32.316. We have Dakota Camper just slightly behind him. These times are pretty similar to each other, so we could have anybody's dice thrown into this, Zach. I truly don't know what to expect. We could have drivers all the way in the bubble. We could have the 00 Dustin Stallings up front all day like we normally do. The Gateway is a type of track where you really just don't know what to expect.
It definitely is. There is got to give always a ton of shout outs here to the sponsors who help make it happen here at the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series. And as we close out these final few minutes here of practice, I definitely want to give a shout out to Butt Kicker, the title sponsor here, who's been here with BRB for a while now. And you can go check them out at thebuttkicker.com. Make sure you go check them out, because they have some of the best sim racing sound software out there, and it really can improve your sim if you want that haptic feedback, vibrations. everything that you can get from them is very high tech. So make sure you go check out them out at ButtKicker at thebuttkicker.com. Also, you have RevSimShop.com. Make sure you go check out their custom button boxes. That's what Rev's got out there for you. You also got Maddox Graphics. Make sure you go check out their iRacing paint schemes at MaddoxGraphics.com. Also have the Performance Food Group, who are delivering more than 300,000 food and related products to customers across the United States and Canada. So make sure you go check them out at pfgc.com there for the Performance Food Group. And also, I believe we also have the sponsor of Sundance Pizza out there. So definitely a huge help to everybody out there who helps put this on at the BRB ButtKicker Cup Series. And we cannot wait to get into qualifying, where I think could be very important. It's going to be interesting to see with this new update and the downforce and the dirty air we've seen, how are they going to attack this racetrack is going to be a very interesting question.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm riding on board with some of these drivers throughout practice, just watching how their lines are and how they're treating each corner. It looks like 3 and 4 is a lot quicker corner where the drivers hug right down to the rumble strips, shift down to 4th gear. And then once they get up to turns 1 and 2, it's a lot tighter. The drivers like to sweep up towards 1 and 2, kind of get a little bit lower off of exit, but in both corners, these drivers are shifting. They're staying really high in 1 and 2, and then low in 3 and 4. So it's almost like you're treating this oval like a road course rather than a standard oval you would see like Michigan or faster super speedway in these next gen cars.
It definitely does. I think the guys that like road courses and like the shifting aspect, the braking, are going to be very talented here because, flatter track, very much a lot of brake, a lot of downshifting, and that all takes a ton of skill from these drivers. So it's definitely something they want to watch out for. As the practice times click away, is we'll look at our schedule here as we'll see what has been completed for the season here at BRB ButtKicker Cup Series, and then I can kind of bring you into update of what's coming there. But Hunter, as you see, it's been a ton of parity throughout the season, but definitely some very strong runnings from a lot of these drivers in the last few weeks, especially Gray Walker with that breakout win for fuel savings.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen a trend these past 2 races where fuel has played a much bigger part than we've expected. I mean, even Dover, we're a track that's not really known for a fuel-tight races. We saw a fuel race that ended with Dakota Camper with the win when we didn't expect that. So I think this league has shown a lot of green flag racing that really pushes the limits of the cars these past 2 races. And Zach, if I had to make a prediction, I'd probably say the same with this one.
It definitely will be, Hunter. We got the final 2 races upcoming here on Pit Stop TV. It'll be at Rockingham and Homestead to close out the regular season. So definitely 2 amazing races coming up there, August 5th, August 12th. They're here at the BRB ButtKicker Cup Series on Pit Stop TV. Also, you're going to have their playoffs, which is Nashville Super Speedway, the Chicago Street Course, Talladega Auto Club in Las Vegas. So great tracks ready to close out their season, but a minute left here in this practice session, Hunter, as they get ready to head into qualifying. I think you got to get everything ironed out and figure it out because this is going to be a long one, too. I mean, 175 laps here at Gateway. This is going to be a race that it's going to take some endurance and some survival aspects.
Yeah, absolutely. And for most races with this league, I know track position is definitely key to start out a race. And watching these drivers try to go out and put a mock qualifying lap before we actually have qualifying start here, it looks like this car is very tight and unresponsive when you really push it to its limits for a 2-lap or hot lap. So it should be interesting to see how these cars are really pushing it for their qualifying laps. I know track position is definitely key here. So you definitely don't want to screw yourself over by hitting the wall really hard or messing up your car and starting all the way back with a qualifying time that it just isn't up to par with the other drivers.
Definitely going to have to get those times the quickest possible. Right now, quickest in practice is the final 10 seconds click away. It's going to be Dustin Stallings, our points leader, Dakota Camper, the winner from Dover, and Christian Barnes, the winner from Kansas there in our top 3, with Sutherland rounding in their top 4 with Kyle Heath rounding out that top 5. So close times, 2 in practice. I think once these final few seconds click away and we get into this qualifying, it's going to be interesting to see who can get pole. I think it's anybody's game right now because really from first down to about all the way to, I'd say, about 20th. It was only 0.2 of a second separating that group.
Yeah, I'm really curious here, Zach, to see just how close these times are with each other and what the pole lap will be. In practice, we saw the 00 of Dustin Stallings with a 32.3. So I'm interested to see if these drivers can set down a lap that fast, or if the track has gotten a little bit more slick and slowing down the cars a little bit. But like you said, I mean, there's a lot of parity from first to 20th. So this is anyone's ball game when it comes to qualifying time.
Right here, watching the 19 of Caden Perkins pull off a pit lane to take the first times here at the Gateway Raceway, otherwise known as Worldwide Technology Raceway. Here is it's going to run that outside line. It looks like he's going to go for it on this first lap. We've seen a lot of times with this next gen car lately, that first lap has produced the quick times. We'll see what this lap's going to do here, Hunter, for Caden Perkins. He's going to start his lap down into 1.
Yeah, and watching on board Caden Perkins, he gets really loose on entrance and clips the outside wall. I was riding on board with him. He shifted all the way down into 3rd gear. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but the 19 flew it into the turns 1 and 2 and went all the way down into 3rd. I don't know if these drivers are going all the way into 3rd gear in 1 and 2. I know it's a very tight corner that forces them up the track, but that was a little surprising there.
We'll see what we can watch here from Braden Van Windergaard as he's going to go into turn 1 here. It looks like he's a little loose also. So right now, Matthew Shelby, top of the times. You see it click up to the top right there. He's the first person to put a lap time in. Is this a 33.3? So that time definitely not representing what he wants. But Ronnie Osmer, he's going to jump up to first with a 32.513. Johnny Wood Jr. Jones jump into second. Then Jared Hughes in that 98 machine up to third. So definitely some competitive times jumping out early. Let's see if the second times produce better. But here's our points there, Dustin Stallings. I think this is the driver to watch when it comes to qualifying right now.
Yeah, and Zach, I guess the 19 just shifted just a little too early and over-revved the car and just sent it around. I was sitting on board at the 15 of Osmer, and now the 00 Stallings, and they're both going down into 3rd gear through 1 and 2. I think it's that corner where they're just really forcing them to just go all the way down to the gears, let the engine braking bring it down. Turns 1 and 2 is very tight, and watching him go through 3 and 4, he only goes down into 4th gear and kind of hugs it a little bit low. He's staying a little high, but looks like shifting is definitely a huge factor in today's race, and it should be pretty. I'm curious to see if the drivers will go down in the 3rd on these tight restarts, and if the cars will go around like the 19.
Dustin Stallings that first time around right there. He's going to go to 3rd on the board. So 32.4080. We'll see if he picks up any time. Very close to the wall there on the exit of 2 there down the back straightaway. But right now, Jared Hughes top of the times. His second lap, same for Ronnie Osmer. They both jump up the board first 1 and 2 right now between the 98 and the 15. Let's see what the 00 has. He's going to exit out of 4.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, Zach, these times are very, very tight. The only difference between first and second, there goes 00 to the top of the board of the 32.304, which is only about 700ths faster than second place at Jared Hughes. So right now, it's separating first all the way down to the 3 of Dakota Camper is only a 1/10.5, which is from first to 7th is a pretty tight gap. These drivers are pretty darn close with the setup and how they're driving around this track.
It is very close for sure right now. As Stallings, like we saw, was pick up on that second line on the top of the board. Right now, watching one of the drivers below the cut line, one of our own here at Freaky Fast Broadcast, and it's the 35 of Sam Dyer as he works his way down the back straightaway. As right now, Kyle Heath, 32.266, fastest time we've seen all night, all server long. And Sam Dyer, they're almost close to the wall. We'll see what his time is going to produce for that 35. Throw Sam Dyer up to 20th with a 32.807. We'll see if he has any pickup on that next lap.
Yeah, and Zach, like we talked about earlier, 13 of Kyle Heath still winless. He shows out week in and week out, but he just can't capitalize right at the end to get that victory. That 13 is showing up today, and he says, I'm going all the way. And he actually improved his time there with a 32.24. So the 13 really knows how to put down a hot lap here. Let's see if he's able to put an entire race together and finally get that win he's been chasing all season.
He definitely has been so quick all season long. It's been the speed that's really been one of the things that shined out. And it's been the stage breaks that, or really points that have carried him in points, really. The finishes haven't really been there for the 13, I feel like, through most of this season. But now the speed, maybe tonight, will be enough to propel him to a possible victory. As we're watching that 48 of Scott Fritz take on a lap here. And he's another driver right near that cut line, and he's going to lock up that left front, just trying to get a little too much down there in the 3.
Yeah, and this just really shows how much they're really asking out of the car for even just a 2-lap hot laps here at Gateway. It shows these drivers are really just pushing these cars to the limit here. I really think long runs here are going to be really demanding on the tires, really demanding on the gearboxes. These drivers are really going to be pushing these cars and asking for everything out of them that they can.
That they will. For the Scootielou 200 here, is we're going to look to pull up our starting grid here for tonight's race at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. Kyle Heath, so strong there in that qualifying session, able to put it on pole position. 32.241 for the 13 car of Kyle Heath. Alongside him on the front row, it's going to be Dustin Stallings in the 00, our points leader. Third, it's going to be the 98 of Jared Hughes. Fourth, it's going to be the 15 of Ronnie Osmer. Fifth is going to be Joshua Parent, one of the drivers looking on the outside of that cut line. Sixth is going to go to the 75 of Johnny Wood Jr. Seventh is going to be the 23 of Brendan Maddox. Eighth is going to go to Dakota Camper. Ninth is going to be Zachary Branfield. And rounding out our top 10, it's going to be Richard Wolsifer in the 56.
In 11th, we got the 27 of Christian Barnes. In 12th, we have the 24 of Isaiah Sutherland. In 13th, we have the 18 of Gray Walker. In 14th, we have the 6 of Andrew Rattel. In 15th, we have Josh Anderson in the 07. In 16th, we have Zachary King in the 51. P17, Cameron Gilmore. And wrapping out row number 9 is the one of Brandon Van Wingerden.
In 19th, it's going to be the 71 of Carl Puller. In 20th, it's going to be the 54 of Coulter Clark. 21st, going to be the 88 Eric Jensen. 22nd, going to be the 35 of Sam Dyer. 23rd is going to be the 19 of Caden Perkins. Evan Patenko going to start back in 24th with Matthew Shelby, the first driver to put a time in, starting back in 25th. Scott Fritz there, we saw his lockup in the 3. He's going to start in 26th. And rounding out the field, I believe it's going to show Adam Buzzio, but I don't believe he'll be racing. He'll be up there in the admin booth. So 26 cars here taking the track here, the Worldwide Technology Raceway. Hunter, this is going to be a blast once this thing gets started off to see how are these drivers going to attack this odd racetrack that we don't get to see many times on too many circuits.
You know, Zach, I'm just as curious as yourself. I'm honestly not sure how this race is going to turn out with these drivers. I don't know how aggressive they're going to attack the first few laps. I don't know how aggressive they're going to be throughout the first stage. So I'm honestly just as intrigued as you are. The 13, I know he's a very fast car, as well as the 00, our current points leader with multiple wins this year. These drivers are known to be very aggressive at the beginning, and they just keep carrying that race throughout the long run. So I'm just hoping these drivers can keep it clean through, especially through the first few turns. I know this track is very demanding, and these drivers are going to be downshifting pretty quickly in the first few turns. So I'm curious to see how these first few laps turn out, Doug.
It's going to be a blast of a time. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in so far here. Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We're for the Scootielou 200 here for the BRB Buck Kicker Cup Series, and we'll see. Pace car lights are off. I think this time we will be going green. It should be at only a 1 pace lap here, and we'll be able to get the green flag underway. Kyle Heath with the burner lap to put it on front of the field. It's going to be the points leader, though. Dustin Stallings looking to claw his way back around. Maybe if we're looking for that third victory, but can Heath get back around him? The question is going to be out right now as the green flag is out and Barney waves the flag. We're heading down the turn 1 side by side between our leaders. Who is going to have the positioning off of 2? It's going to be that inside line of Heath sliding up the racetrack by the 00, fighting around the top side. Might have the positioning, but he's going to tap that wall and still hold on to it.
Yeah, you saw the 00 just barely kissing that wall and exit there, but it just shows how dominant that outside line is in 1 and 2. He was pretty darn tight being side by side with the 13 there, but he still was able to hold his own, and the 00 is going to be able to clear it. Now the 15 of Rosny Osborne moves up to second, so that 00 is moving fast. The 15 is showing his speed as well. The 13 is, it just looks like this inside line on 1 and 2 is just not very dominant. You see all these drivers kind of moving up to that center groove, to that higher groove through 1 and 2. And yeah, right now, 00 is definitely showing his speed.
A wreck farther back in the field, and caution flag is out on the speedway. It looks like it's going to have a few cars involved in this one, as you see the 10 machine getting spun back around of Cameron Gilmore. That's going to be a tough break for that machine, as we'll see how that all shook out. But I believe it actually was contact between the 10 here and the 07 of Joshua Anderson. This is them coming through 3 and 4. The contact's going to be off the exit of 2 here. you're going to see a quite massive closing rate. This is the one thing that's going to catch a lot of people off guard, is just how different the braking zone is for some of these people into one for how they want to run the corner. It's hitting a lot of center speed right up into the quarter panel. That 07 gets him spun, and then that clips him, spins him around, and luckily nobody else involved in that.
Yeah, definitely. And like you mentioned, Zach, not only is it different braking zones, but these drivers are running completely different grooves for the third 1 and 2. I think 1 and 2 is definitely one of those corners where it's very tricky to figure out, but once these drivers can figure it out, they can show where their speed is at. And riding on board at the 10 here, he's 2-3 car lengths behind the 07 and just closes in half a corner and just gets right up into that 00. Man, he just barely clipped that car, but they both go around. But and like you mentioned, thankfully no drivers any damage there.
Definitely lucky parties all involved. There's a lot of people hitting pit road just to get the fuel topped off, maybe get a little damage repaired, fixed up for everybody. But Stallings taking advantage of that first restart there, Hunter. That was critical. You know, we've learned now where you want to restart. You definitely want to be on the outside. I mean, if you're Kyle Heath who's sitting on the pole, you got to be sitting there thinking, man, this is not how I wanted that to play out, by, you know, having a big time lap like that to sit on the pole and then immediately just losing the lead.
Absolutely, and I bet there's some of these drivers sitting on the radio right now wishing that they had the choose cone like they do in the Real Cup Series. I wouldn't be surprised if the 00 chose the outside lane here. It definitely prevailed to be the dominant line. I mean, the 13 of Kyle Heath just really couldn't do anything off the exit of 2 on that initial restart. So I'm assuming the 00 is going to take the outside line here with the 15 on the bottom. I know the 13 might be a little frustrated that he's going to be on the inside as well, falling back 2 spots, even though we had just a very quick restart there. But yeah, Zach, I mean, I would be very surprised if the 00 chooses the inside.
Well, this is the interesting thing here, Hunter, is BRB actually does have the choose code. It's just you got to wait for that first restart. That first restart is going to line up where you start, the start of the race will line up where you qualify. But you see here, they're all darting left and right, deciding where they want to go. So you've seen it. The 00, he elected to take the outside. The 13, he goes to the top 2. So you see everybody splitting. If you go left, you go on the bottom. If you go right, you're going up top. So it is a cool sight to see them utilize this here, and this is gonna make your fate very much your own decision. So I like this addition here. It is a very cool feature.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually had zero clue that they used the choose cone method. I think that's a really great just mixture of strategies here, like we see with the Cup Series, where a driver who might be running 6th or 7th is able to put himself up in the front row or the second row because he just wants to utilize the inside lane and move up some spots. So maybe that 98 who moved all the way down to the inside lane there, who was sitting behind the 13, now in the quote-unquote third place spot, maybe he's able to jump up a few cars that he was sitting behind. So yeah, I'm interested to see here. But Zach, I wouldn't be surprised if the 13 moves up a spot like the 15 did on the initial restart, with this outside line being so dominant in 1 and 2.
Definitely is going to be an interesting sight to see here. Stallings controlling this restart now, the leader on the outside line. We'll see what Kyle Heath, our pole setter, can do from restarting now on that second row. Stallings, great start, and Heath not the best. That's allowing Ronnie Osmer might have the opportunity here to drive down to 1, maybe clear that 13 to slide up in the second here. That's what the 15 is going to hope to do, but I think that 13 trying to fight to the quarter panel here off the exit.
Incredible launch by the 00. He's easily able to cruise to the lead, but right now the 15 and the 13 are battling pretty darn hard. That 15 drove it in deep into 1 and 2 and got a good launch. But it just, like we saw, Zach, that 13, it just has just a much better groove, and he's able to get a much better run through the corner and on exit, where he's able to clear that 15. Now the 13's back up in that second position.
Back down the front straightaway into the hard braking zone to turn number 1. This is where things can get a little bit wild here as everybody stacks ups and accordions down into 1 and 2 as they shift down through the gears, back up through that gearbox, and it can make things definitely very interesting. Now as you head to 3, the preferred groove is on the bottom, but I think you're going to want to get passing still down that outside groove just because you can pinch that driver off on the bottom. You see Branville working the outer groove around our winner from Dover of Dakota Camper.
Yeah, and Zach, I'm honestly curious for somebody who's driven around a track like this before. I saw drivers running a much higher line during practice, but right now with 1 and 2, they kind of enter high, but they run that center groove and kind of move down lower towards the exit. Is it towards the longer runs where drivers start to move up higher towards the track searching for that grip, or do they really just like to run that center line all throughout the race?
I think a lot of people really like to get turned down the track there because it feels almost like here at Gateway, off that top of the corners, we get some close racing here between Cameron and Sutherland here in 3 and 4. We'll see here as we go down to the corner. The banking is very weird here in the transition. You go off in here, the banking really kind of falls away on the inside here, but you wash up this track, and you want to get down here because it almost falls away towards that wall. It's very flat there on the exit, so that's why a lot of people feel like take that lower exit, not only to get the straighter run up off the corner, but also just to avoid that very weird transition off the top of the upturn too. So it is definitely a corner where you enter high, kind of work the middle, and then kind of turn down even off the exit to get that really long straightaway. And really the goal is to make these straightaways as long as possible here at Gateway when you're slowing these corners up, especially with the shifting aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. And in this track, definitely with this unique shape and configure it, it produces really tight multi-groove racing that also includes downshifting and treating it almost like a road course and an oval at the same time. This track also kind of has a layout that it almost looks like Darlington and the Milwaukee Mile morphed into one. And these drivers are just, it looks like one of those tracks where it's not flat, it has a good amount of banking, but at the same time, these drivers are just searching for grip wherever they're going.
Is definitely a place you got to search in tight battles, including here is Barnes, a little contact between him and Richard Wolsifer. That was close there. Racing is you got Camper now working the outside. You got Zachary King also there in the 51 machine. This is going to be an interesting little shakeup between this grouping here. Is lap 40 is going to be our stage hunter. We've only gotten through 11 here to start this thing off. It's already felt like there's been a ton of racing already going on here, especially around this 10th position. That would pay out the points.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking throughout the field, most of the drivers have fanned out. Man, that 27 is really utilizing that inside line. He's just riding right on the right on the inside. He's searching for grip on that bottom line. But like we've seen time and time again, that outside middle groove is just a lot more dominant. It looks like through both corners. I think both these drivers like to enter high. The only difference with 3 and 4 is they swoop down towards the rumble strips on exit in comparison to 1 and 2. But right now, I just really think that these drivers, if you're in the outside line, driving side by side in a battle, you're probably going to prevail.
It is definitely, I think, the preferred position. If you can't get the pass done early and be able to slide up there, you see the 54 of Coulter Clark there. He tried his best. He drove down to the bottom of the corner there to clear that 27, and look what he did. He paid for it. Now the 71, huge run to his inside down the back straightaway. But now, guess what? He's in the preferred position here. Yeah, the bottom here is very good, right? Especially there off the corner. But if you have someone to hold you down there on the exit, you just can't carry the speed that you can down these straightaways. So this track, very tough to pass, and you got to be methodical and pick and choose your lanes, because if you don't get it done on the bottom immediately and you have to race that off the corner side by side, you're probably going to lose more than one spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And with even tires, it just looks like that outside center groove is just more dominant, and it's really difficult to pass. I'm going to be intrigued to see when varying tire strategies go through. And Zach, we're probably going to be using the word slide job a few times throughout the race here. These drivers, it looks like they're going to get a better entrance off of 1 and 2, but they just can't carry it through. Oh, and the 56 and the 3 make contact there. An incredible save by the 56, but like we saw right there, the 3 tried to dive it in there, and he just wasn't able to hold it, and he got tight and went right up into the 56. I'm sure the 56 there is angry, but I'm glad he was able to hold on to it there. An incredible save by the 56 there.
Great job by Richard to hold on to that machine. That could have been a huge loss out for him, but he holds on after the contact between him, I believe, actually, and Dakota Camper, but actually going back and getting a good little look at it myself, there was quite a bit of netcode. I think the contact would have still happened regardless, but the netcode made it a lot worse. So unfortunate for him there. But I think Joshua Parent there off the exit 2, he's in the grass and he's sliding back up the track. I think we're going to stay green for the time being, but wow, what a ride for the 90 there. It looks like just a little bit free off the exit of 2, and that can happen when you're shifting through these gears. You're getting those RPMs built up a ton, and that rear end can step out super easy here, and that's what's happened to this 90.
Yeah, that 90 car just went right up the racetrack. He was running real low on the exit of 2 there, went up the racetrack, and it looks like the back end just kicked down on him, and he went right down in the infield. Thankfully, we stayed green there, but I think right now the 90 of Parent is saying, I need to put 4 fresh tires on this baby.
We can see it here riding on board with them, and it is quite the task to try to make these cars stay straight sometimes when these tires get worn out. And I can say, well, as this run goes on, drivers are searching for every little thing. Dustin Stallings, even our leader, he right now under threat. Kyle Heath has been putting the pressure on. He's been quicker. The last few laps, he's gotten right up to the back bumper. But this is always the age-old question. You can be quicker than someone, Hunter, but how do you get around them? Because passing is much harder than just being quicker.
It's very difficult for sure, and we've seen drivers already only 18 laps in struggling throughout the run. Long runs here are going to be very, very interesting. I honestly think this is going to get to the point where drivers really need to take care of their tires here, because tires are eventually going to prevail. But, I mean, these drivers are getting real close to the wall off of exit. They're getting super tight. I'm assuming all these drivers aren't very happy with how these cars are handling and how the fixed setup is. But only halfway through towards the stage right here, Zach. And I've been watching this 13 of Kyle Heath. He's been slowly hawking down this 00 of Dustin Stallings. He had a lot of short run speed right now with the 00, but right now Kyle Heath is slowly saving his tires, and he's got that 00 right in his windshield.
He does. He's just was able to get there, but now lost a little bit of ground those last few laps. And right now Stallings having to deal with a little bit of traffic himself. That's going to be Cameron Gilmore on the 10, who's going now a lap down as he's going to ride up the track. And right here is the 13. He's going to catch him on the exit. That's not the best place to catch him there, but I hurt his speed a little bit, lose a little bit of ground. But right now our top 3 or 4 kind of getting a little strung out, even our top 5, as it's about 2.5 seconds separating those 5.
Yeah, and now it's getting a lot more interesting with all these drivers cutting through lap traffic now. These cars are just super tight, and it's even harder to just completely switch your line when you're trying to get around lap traffic. And as we saw with the 13 there, he just lost a good amount of time because he wasn't able to use his preferred line off exit. And that's just, I mean, that's a matter of a few tenths, Zach. I mean, that's massive. So watching these drivers cut through, we're only 20 laps into this race and only halfway through the stage, and we're already seeing some pretty hectic racing. I honestly think these drivers are just trying to take care of their stuff as much as they can. It's a lot of single file racing throughout the field. And I'm just only 18 more laps until the stage is over. And these drivers look like they're already struggling with these tires underneath them. 175 total laps here, 5 total sets of tires on pit road. So Zach, I'm interested to see if these drivers use up their tires on pit road before the race is even over.
Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting question for sure too. Is like the lap times are starting to fall away, but it seems like everybody's starting to even out a good bit here. So this is gonna make everything close and be about not making mistakes. And when you're close in this dirty air, mistakes are easily prone to all these drivers for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And just looking throughout the field now, you can see on the screen, I'm just all single filed out. No drivers are really forcing their own, making it side by side. I think this is the track kind of like Darlington, where you just want to run your own race. You want to race the track, not the other people around you. I mean, it's just one of those tracks where it's just so demanding and difficult to pass, like we've seen. I think it's hard to win a race when you have a damaged car, only 25 laps in. So I think these drivers just really trying to take care of their stuff and make it to the end of the first stage.
They're definitely, I think, focusing on that so far. It is right now Stallings still solidified out front. We're watching right now the battle for 8th. This is going to be Isaiah Sutherland. He's trying to hold off Dakota Kemper, who has been taking a few looks here and there on that 24, but looks like right now just going to have to settle it out as Brandvold ahead of him in the 55 machine. He's trying to catch up to Maddox. Everybody here focused on who can they catch up. Is right now Camper taking a look again there. We see the 24 kind of cuts down in front of them there on the exit. Even though he hits the wall there, he does drive away, just kind of putting the air right on the nose of that 3 machine.
Man, Zach, I've been seeing it, and we're only 25 laps in, but almost every driver at some point looks like they've clipped the outside wall in either the exit of 2 or the exit of 4. I mean, we're getting to the point where it's going to be the gateway stripe, just like the Darlington stripe.
Yeah, definitely drivers using up every little bit of the racetrack. And the interesting thing is a lot of times they'll clip that wall like that, but not really lose too much speed. A lot of times it'll actually help them carry a little speed, but you can get in trouble if you do that too many times. You hit it too hard, you get a little too much of it, it's going to definitely hurt that race car. So gotta watch out for that all night long. Is right now our top 5 kind of strung out right here. You look back to Johnny Wood Jr., he's right ahead of Jared Hughes, but these two are about 2.5 seconds where we were talking about just a little while ago ahead of Stallings. So it's kind of evened out between this group, and Stallings is starting to open on Heath, who is starting to slide back into the clutches of the 15 to 75 here. But it is very much right now all about track position.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now it looks like the top four, Johnny Wood Jr., even the 98 of Hughes, these top 5 cars have just been very, very even on lap times. Dustin Stallings was a little bit slower than 13 about 10 laps ago, but now it looks like their times are about plateauing, and each driver is running very similar times with each other. I think only 13 laps to go till the end of the stage, Zach. And these drivers are just trying to keep it green here, not really worrying about passing each other, getting more stage points. I think they're kind of just holding their own, taking care of their car, and making sure they get to the second stage.
Definitely, I think our strategy from a lot of them trying to get those points. Those stage points are so critical. We talk about them each and every week, every single time. I mean, if you're not getting them, it's really hard to make those gaps up. And, you know, some drivers not willing to risk it. Some drivers are. So it's really a huge decision you got to make by yourself as a driver. Where do you want to be at early in these races? Do you want to be able to get those passes done? Is right now, battles on the 24 and the 55. Branville had threat from the 24 down there to the 3 and 4, but the 24 was not able to get it done. Sutherland going to have to retry here on this 55 because it is just so tough to pass. You can see just super close on the X there, trying to maybe get that 55 a little bit loose.
Yeah, and you can see that 24 is saying, I'm here, I'm ready to pass you. Just Jeff Gordon style with that 24 car. So these we see throughout the field. I mean, the battle between 7th here, these drivers are fighting for every stage point they can get here, and we only have 11 more laps to go. And Isaiah Sutherland, if he feels he has a faster car, he's not going to be afraid to use that bumper to the 55. Once you get towards the last to 10th place with only 1 stage point, every single little point can matter, especially with the driver without a win like 24.
Oh, and the 55 up into the wall is going to get the run here. Sutherland now down to the inside, down the back straightaway. Can the 24 have enough power to prevail here down in the 3 and 4? The 55 is going to throw it in the corner there. The 24 slides up the track, but can he clear? And he will. Isaiah Sutherland moved him up to 7th. It's a great pass from the 24. That is the classic way to get it done, and he's done an excellent job. Now as the 55 will have an opportunity to look to the inside, but I think he decides better. He's just going to fall in line to run this middle groove.
Yeah, absolutely. You saw the 55 got right to the back bumper of the 24. Gave him a push off into 1 and 2. I think he was trying to send him in there a little bit. But like we saw, Zach, it's getting to the point where tire wear is showing a big difference now. When the tires were even towards the beginning of the run, it was very, very difficult to pass on the inside just because the outside was a lot more dominant. But once the drivers took care of the 55 into the wall there again, I think he's really struggling with his tires here. So the drivers who can take care of their stuff a lot better. Now you can see the 24 to the bumper of the 23 of Brandon Maddock. This 24 is trying to move up quickly with only 8 more laps to go in the stage. So right now, these drivers with the quicker tires who took care of their stuff are just showing how much easier it is to pass through the long run rather than the short run.
Yeah, the lap times are starting to fall away here. As we've gotten 30 laps in now, the tires are really starting to show their age. We're seeing upwards of over a second, almost a second and a half from some of these drivers to fall off. So this is really where you can make your ground up if you're able to manage the tires a little better. Sutherland seeming to be one of the quicker ones right now, as he was able to get around Branville. Now has Maddox in his sights, like you were saying, Hunter, and he has some time here. If he sets him up, he could be able to get hit 6th here and maybe even try to set his sights on Hughes up there, but he has to get it done quickly if he wants anything to do with that 98, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And for a driver without any wins like Isaiah Sutherland, every point matters in stages. And when you have the quicker car, like you see right here, the 24 dives the inside 23, forcing him down a little bit, almost like a block. Let's see if the 24 can hold it off into 1 and 2. I know it's a lot tighter in this corner here. And right now you just see they're so even. Slides up into that 23 and he's able to make that pass right now. 24 of Isaiah Sutherland's really quick on this longer run. And let's see if he can hawk down the 98 here with only 6 to go, Zach.
This is an amazing job by him, and it's going to be quite the gap because right now actually we jump up to the 98. I thought the next car ahead was going to be for position. No, that was Lieutenant Gilmore, who was a lap down there, who we saw getting back going up to speed. This is what position's for, and Hughes and Wood right here about a second and a half up the road from Sutherland. So right now we'll see, can Hughes put the threat onto the back of the 75, and can the 75 put the threat onto the 15? Because right now it's kind of coordinated back together, but Hughes definitely the closest of all this group of the top 5.
Yeah, and looking through just my first judgments of how the initial restarts went, the drivers in the outside lanes were able to get a much better run and get more positions than the ones who started in the inside. And towards the middle of the run, the tires kind of plateaued. Drivers just kind of ran their own, and then now towards the longer runs, the drivers who were able to save their tires better are now starting to show. And right now, like we saw with the 98 and the 24 of Isaiah Sutherland, they're able to move through the field much quicker.
That they are right now. Camper's trying to do this similar to what Sutherland did. He wasn't able to get around his hole right behind him, Barnes into the wall. But Camper trying to find a way around Brandville to maybe set his sights up onto the 23 of Brandon Maddox also. So good racing here going down as these tires start to continue to fall away. And right now, makes sense why Sutherland's been quick. He is the quickest car on the racetrack by a few tenths. So he is definitely flying in the 24. And, I'm excited to see when we get that final stage of this race, when we go that longer distance, it is going to be quite the interesting thing for these drivers to manage these tires, because right now we're actually seeing a good bit of difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And only a few laps ago, the 24 of Isaiah Sutherland was 1.2, 1.5 seconds behind the 98 of Hughes, and now he's only about 4 tenths behind. So this 24 definitely showing his long run speed. And you can see he's got his sights in the mirror here. Only 2 more to go on the stage here, Zach. I don't know if the 24 is able to make it up into 5th, but it's definitely something to put in your back pocket.
It's look at Barnes here. He's going to dive up the inside here. Camper, sorry about that, Hunter, as we saw this right here, right in the back of this field. The 10 of the 27 here made the big move as the 3 and the 55 stacked up. The 27 looked to get 2 for 1, but just couldn't make it work. But this is that back end of that stage. And even like you said, Sutherland, he closed up to Hughes also immediately. So this has really got a couple battles that are about to start forming here in these 2 final laps of this stage.
Yeah, it's the battle of 3 positions here is the difference between 2 stage points. So these drivers are trying to take as much as they can, and they're still not giving up here. The 3 of Dakota Camper is not going to go way on the outside of the 55 here. And, man, we got a little bit of a hornet's nest here between these 3 cars. Now here goes a 27 on the inside. They're going to send it 3 wide here into 3 and 4.
Well, this ain't going to work, especially the lapper there. Gilmore, as Camper had to back out. The 27 of Barnes backs out too. Brandvold holds on, and we reset. Now Barnes up in 9th. Camper back to 10th, but this is definitely set up things as now Camper's going to look to the inside. We might be 3 wide down in the 1 and 2.
3 wide again into the corners, and you can see from the brake orders these drivers slamming on their brakes here, and they're still not giving up. The 3 Dakota Camper now on the inside of the 27. And oh my goodness here, Zach, this is unbelievable. With the final lap of the stage here, they're really trying to get every point they can.
That they are, Hunters. Camper dives to the inside here, trying to throw it into the corner to make it stick here on the inside of the 27 to make this work. But he's not going to have enough time, because guess what? The caution's out already for the stage, and the Stallings is down in 1 and 2. And I think Barnes going to hold on to 9th there with Camper in 10th.
Yeah, and that 00 Dustin Stallings, man, 2.5 seconds out in front of the 13 of Kyle Heath. Kyle Heath showed really good middle run speed. I thought he was going to catch the 00, but that 00 of Dustin Stallings is really showing his strength in the long run. And I honestly think a huge factor is just this dirty air. The dirty air just completely just takes away that right front in the turn, especially to track this tight. I think once you get that clean air, like the 00 Dustin Stallings had, he was just able to set sail.
That he was. He did an excellent job managing that so well, and we'll see here. He's got to make sure that the only thing I don't worry about right now, do not pass that pace car before you cross that line on pit road, because I've seen that issue pop up before for drivers. Luckily, he loaded everybody up and got himself slowed down enough there. Stallings going to lead us to pit road, and those 10 valuable bonus points again for him, man. He is just on a run. And look right here. Watch out for that thing there. Yep, okay, you can ghost through it. I was not sure if you can ghost through the stairs, and you can. So that is a good news, because someone will rip their nose off.
Yeah, I thought the exact same thing there, Zach. I didn't know if it was something you could drive through or not, but this will be an interesting race off of pit road here, because the 00 is behind the 13. Let's see if the 13 can get a good jump here. No, not at all. The 00 is going to coast off of pit road here, and I think throughout the field most drivers will keep their position they had at the end of the stage. But man, I don't know, Zach, this 00, I'm assuming he's going to take this outside lane again on the restart here, but he's very, very quick, and he looks like he's the car to beat so far.
I tell you what, Brendan Maddox with a excellent pit stop there. 11.2 there for him. That was very, very quick. Oh, yeah. Only 2 tires. That makes so much sense. Same, I think, for our leader, Dustin Stallings, too. I think he only took 2 tires here. So uh, keeping track position valuable to these few, and we'll see if that comebacks to hurt them, Hunter. I mean, that's a risky move, taking 2 tires right here.
Yeah, I'm I'm very intrigued to see why he made that decision. I don't know if he's maybe banking tires in his back pocket for the end of the race, but yeah, our points leader, stage winner of Dustin Stallings is electing 2 tires as well as the 23 of Maddox here. Maybe they might have figured something out that the left side tires don't mean as much as right side tires do here. I'm interested to see how this turns out.
This is going to be wild here. Now, we're going to have that leader on 2 tires, Brendan Maddox. Ronnie Osmer here, first car on 4 tires. His pit stop was at 14.6. Same for Johnny Wood Jr., Kyle Heath. Heath was the big loser. He went from 2nd to 5th. So he's not only going to, restart here into a 2nd row this time, he's going to restart in the 3rd row. So our pole setter definitely setting himself back here a little bit, choosing an outside lane, though, knowing that could be the advantage he looks for. Same for Brendan Maddox, but the Osmer on the bottom, Johnny Wood Jr., 4 tires on the bottom. Let's see how this all shakes out, because this is going to get interesting. Different strategies, different mindsets. Who is going to prevail when it comes to the decision that is going to work? We'll see when the green flag waves here. As the BRB Buckhanger Cup Series is back under green, and Stallings taking off. Same with Maddox. They're out like a cannon. Both clear down in the 1 and 2. Was the 15 going to be able to slide back up the inside here to utilize those 4 tires?
And an incredible jump by the 00, but even better by the 23. He gave him a shove that was so good, he was able to clear the 15 almost instantly on that restart. So the 23 is going to jump up to 2nd place. Oh, he's got the 15 and Ronnie Osmer fighting hard on the inside. Too wide with 2 rows behind him, as well as the 13 behind him as well. He's the first car on 4 fresh tires, but man, the wreck behind him.
Zachary King, Carl Pooler up into the wall. I saw the 51 going around there, and that is what is going to bring out the yellow here quickly after the end of the first stage. And it looks like that was contact between the 6 of Andrew Rattel and Zachary King. So this right here, a wild little moment here between these two. Is it looks like the 51 going to turn down, the 6s there, and just going to get spun out there. As the 71 Pooler nowhere to go for Carl Pooler.
Yeah, and like we've seen, I mean, it's just so tight on exit. When you have a wreck like that happen in front of you, it's just super, super quick and really hard to react. Or for the 71, just nowhere to go. It's just, yeah, the 51 was just not able to hold on through it. Just went right up in the outside wall, and the 71 had nowhere to go. But it's just one of those racing incidents, Zach, where the 6 just has nowhere to go. The 51 kind of pushes his line a little bit, and then drivers behind him just sitting along for the ride.
An unfortunate damage build up for the 71 there, Pooler, who's had a tough season. It's just been bad luck after bad luck moment. So 71's going to definitely look to get that fixed up, maybe under here this caution break. But right now, Stallings still the leader. Maddox up to 2nd, Osmer 3rd, Heath 4th, Johnny Wood Jr. in 5th. We'll see what their decisions are again on this choose. I mean, if the bottom opens up like he does last time, I think you got to go for it, because I mean, Osmer actually was quite well competing with the 2 tires, pretty well with the 4 tires. So we could see if that 15 can get him hooked up, maybe he has a threat for 2nd or 1st here.
Yeah, Zach, I'm very confident that the 00 of Stallings and the 23 of Maddox are going to take the outside line here. I mean, they did it on that last restart. They're both sitting on the same tires. So I'm confident that those 2 will take the outside. Now, the 15 of Osmer, I know he wants to keep his position, but it's kind of hard to say no to a front row spot at 2nd, especially when you're sitting in 3rd. I know the 13 of Kyle Heath's going to stay on that outside. He's stuck with it this entire race. And keep in mind, Kyle Heath moved up 1 spot. He's the first car on 4 fresh tires here. And there you go. He jumps to the inside there, Zach. Wow.
Yeah, this is I think I like that call, just to go for it. Why not try to get the most positioning forward as possible? And yeah, that was a decision. I think the 13 felt like he had to make. Same for the 15 Ronnie Osmer. He felt like with the 4 tires, he wants to try to get this done, but we'll see how Stallings can relaunch here because, again, the 23 and the 00 last time, they were out like a cannon on that last restart.
Yeah, that 00 and 23 must have communication. I mean, it was that 23 gave him a push so big, the 15 didn't even know that the 00 was already going. I'm interested to see how this restart goes here. Maybe the 15 trying to get a much better jump here to fight him going too wide on the inside of 1 and 2, but these 2 right side tires versus the 13 of Heath on 4 fresh ones, only in 4th. I gotta assume that in the longer runs here, the 4 tires are just gonna end up being stronger.
That is possible. Very well, it could play out that way. And I tell you what, we know why they're communicating, because they are teammates there at Maverick Motorsports, there with the 00 in the 23. So we'll see again, maybe if they can time this restart well. And again, great restart from that top side. They're able to almost completely clear the 15 once again. So Brandon Maddox doing exactly what he needs to in that second restarting position behind his teammate. He's even maybe taking a look to the inside here, down the back straightaway.
There's the 24 of Isaiah Sutherland jumping out in front of the 13 of Kyle Heath. He's on a mission as well. That 24's now going to be the first car on 4 fresh tires there. And Zach, watching on that restart there, I think the 15 of Ronnie Osmer tried to get a jump, and he just missed it and completely choked up that inside line, allowing that outside line to prevail. And that 24 just went right around that 13 there. So now Isaiah Sutherland, the first car on 4 fresh tires throughout the field. But yeah, and now we're seeing cars just fan out too wide towards the back here. But man, Zach, these drivers just not giving up any room there. The 46 and the 90 pushing hard on each other, just all throughout the field. It's just drivers fighting for every inch they can take.
And they are. Everybody looking for any little valuable space they can find here on this racing surface, and they're trying to go forward right now. We're watching the 46 of Matthew Shelby. This is back here for the 12th position. Joshua Parent right there in front of the 90. You see the smoke off the wall from the contact being made from drivers ahead, but everybody single files for the time being, heading down to 1 and 2.
And oh man, I mean, these drivers are using as much as they can of the racetrack. Most drivers, for the most part, are just single file fanning and out, taking care of their stuff here. It's another 40 lap stage here, I believe so. And I mean, these drivers just taking care of their stuff, but these like the 88 there, really utilizing as much as they can in the outside lanes here. Most of these drivers should be taking care of their stuff. I know these outside walls have been coming up with these drivers quickly, and man, Zach, this is just very aggressive racing I've been seeing so far, only 50 laps in.
Yeah, definitely aggressive racing. These drivers really get that track position. They know it's kind of single file out. It's very tough to pass unless you're able to manage those tires very, very well. So we'll see how that works out this run here. Again, going to lap 80 for the end of stage number 2, and then from 80 we'll be going all the way to that 175 mark. So it is a long way to go here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway, as this the Scootielou 200 here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, as we check back up towards the front half of the field. This is the 8th position here with Jared Hughes. He's directly ahead of Coulter Clark. He's got Camper, who's now jumped up to 7th. So Jared Hughes, a big loser there, was top 5 in that first stage, was able to go for it. But right now we got some battling back here as Shelby goes to the inside of Joshua Parent. Can he get it done?
Yeah, absolutely. And just looking throughout this top 10 right now, these drivers, oh man, I think it's a 55 hard in the outside wall. I know he's been struggling with his car being super tight today. I expected 1 and 2 to be a corner where the drivers are going to struggle with more of those, Zach. And 3 and 4 is just like, it looks like one of those corners where the drivers don't really expect it, and that exit of the wall just comes out at them.
It definitely seems to be that way as Carl Pooler goes around there on the exit of 2, and that is going to be another caution, and Pooler not enjoying that moment there. Unfortunately, that car just stepping out sideways and going to bring out a quick yellow here at the BRB Buck Kicker Cup Series at Gateway.
Yeah, and like we saw earlier, now with the 71, it just looks like he lost it right on the exit of 1 and 2 here. One of those tracks, one of those corners where you really just step on the gas just a little bit too early and it just kicks out right out at you. Unfortunate for that 71. I know he had that incident with the 51 earlier on the outside wall. It definitely doesn't help, but I mean, these cars are just so difficult to drive through 1 and 2, and you're really asking for the limits of each car. And yeah, right there at the 71 just goes right around, just holding on to the ride there.
Definitely a tough break for Carl Pooler there with that damage he suffered from the last wreck. Probably playing a factor in the way that car is handling for him, as he's going to get it back up to speed and pacing here as we are on lap 54 of our stage number 2. We will, while we're at it, we're going to take our first commercial break of the night here while these guys pace around the Worldwide Technology Raceway Park. Is a wild start here to stage number 2. Stage 1, long green flag run. Stage 2, though, we've seen the early yellow flag bug. Will it continue on? We're going to have to see here as we get through the rest of the night here at the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series. And you're watching the Freak Guys broadcasting at the Scootielou 200 here for the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series. You won't miss a thing as we step away, and we'll be back in a few moments, folks. Don't go nowhere. And we are back here from commercial break. And if you thought this is the Twilight Zone, well, guess what? It's called you again. So we had a quick yellow there, and we'll show you what happened while we're on the commercial break. As they went back to restart, you're going to see the 90 here, Joshua Parent, and he's going to exit off of 2 here. There's going to be a slight little bit of contact there. You see Barnes very close to the rear end there. He's going to slide on the track, just make a little bit of contact between him and the 54 of Coulter Clark, sending them both down the track, and heavy collision to that 90. And that was not what the 90 wanted to see. That is a meatball required damage flag, and that's a car that is only a couple points out of that cut line. 90 now going to be suffering here, not getting those stage points here for stage 2 possibly.
Definitely not, and I think now he's just going to finish this race. We've seen it time and time and again, Zach. It's just super tight off the exit there. It just sends the 54 for a ride, and then hard on an inside wall for the 90. That's just, a heavy hit there. Going to cause a lot of damage to that left side of his car, but I mean, it's just so difficult being side by side going into a corner that tight with the tires being so even. These drivers are wanting to force as much as they can out of the car, but the tires are just not allowing them to do it.
That was just unfortunate air contact between those two, and Parent definitely going to be hurt by that. But you see here the choose. Look at that. Stallings again and Maddox up top, the two teammates from Maverick Motorsports. Going to take that top side. We'll look at this. Kyle Heath now going to be the first car on 4 tires on the bottom with Ronnie Osmer right behind him. You'll have Sutherland back there in the outside third car on that row, and you'll have Johnny Wood Jr. in the third row on the inside. So very strong group of drivers here. This has been wild. As you see our race report down here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway Park, it's 5 cautions so far, 15 laps, and it's no lead changes, but it's been great racing so far, Hunter. I really think this has been a great job by everybody to keep it somewhat green, because this track's not known for that.
Oh, absolutely. And keep an eye out here, the 13 of Kyle Heath on the inside line, who was originally behind that 24. Now he's going to be the first car who took 4 tires that last pit cycle between the leaders. Zach, I'm right side tires only on the outside, all 4 tires on the inside here. Let's see how this one works out.
We will. Here we go. Pace car is in, and green flag is back out on the speedways. There he goes. Dustin Stallings able to get a good jump. I mean, that whole outside line. I mean, Isaiah Sutherland all the way up alongside Heath. That inside line just not the place to go tonight. Is right now the outside line has been timing it so well for his teammates. As Sutherland tries to fight his teammate Heath to allow him in. Heath looks to fight his way forward, but the 24 pulls his teammate back, and Sutherland wants the top 3 from Heath.
And now the 13 and 24, these 2 cars who took 4 tires this last cycle, fighting for this position here. These 2 drivers have been fighting the entire race, and these 2 teammates up front, the 00 and 23, have just, with their strategy and able to communicate with each other. Even though they have right side tires here, Zach, they're able to hold it up front. But like you see, and now the 13 knocking on the door, the 23 here, the 4 tires just looks more dominant. I understand the track positions here between the 2 cars, but the 13 and 24, even though they're side by side, are still able to keep up with the 2 cars in front of them.
And the 23 going to be suffering much worse than that 00, because he's going to be in that dirty wake of his teammate Dustin Stallings. So he's going to be on 2 tires and in dirty air. So he's got to really manage this. Is right now Sutherland, a huge run off the top of 4. He's able to clear the 13. He now looks to the inside of the 23, and this is where it's going to get interesting. Can the 23 hold the patience, hold it on the door of these drivers right through this center here? As he does, and he gets turned by the 24.
Oh, no.
And the 13, and they're all going to, oh, no. That is my goodness. Big wreck in the Stallings. Other than Ronnie Osmer, every single driver from about that 2nd place on back to 8th was involved in that. And that is huge damage for all included.
Yeah, Zach, the 24 just tried to send it on that inside line and just tried to hold it to that inside. And the 23 just holding it to the outside, and there was no room for him to go, and just it went right into each other. Unfortunate. That was a really large wreck for most of the leaders. The 13 of Kyle Heath, I want to apologize. I know we were talking about him earlier for the win. He even mentioned it in the comments for the jinx. I'll take that one. That I apologize. But yeah, I mean, the 24 just trying as much as he can on that inside line. He knows he has the better tires, just gets tight in the center of the corner and has nowhere to go, and just slightly clips that inside quarter panel of the 23 and just sends him around. The top 5 stacks up hard in the inside wall for both the 24 and the 13.
Look at Maddox just slammed into the wall there. See Johnny Wood Jr. even come piling in. The same for Dakota Camper. Sutherland there into the inside wall. But yeah, just a slight mistake from the 24, just playing with inches there. You know, you're racing so close to each other, and you slide up, accidentally clip that quarter panel, and that's going to cause that major incident. Man, oh man, it has set things aflame here. It's right on board Camper to see what he saw. You can see right there, embracing up ahead of him. The contact is made, and right here, Camper's like, "Oh, what am I going to do?" And the door is just completely closed for all those drivers.
Yeah, it's like the exit of the corners at Dover. I mean, it's just so tight. You just have nowhere to go when you have a wreck happen in front of you like that. I mean, just unfortunate for those drivers up there. They were doing so well, fighting for each position they could, and just one of those little things, Zach, and 7 or 8 cars behind them pile up, and they have nowhere to go.
Now we get to see which drivers take advantage of this carnage. Zachary Branville shuffled his way all the way up to second. Now Richard Wolsifer up to third. Jared Hughes back here in fourth. Matthew Shelby in fifth. Eric Jensen up to sixth. Christian Barnes in seventh. Eighth is going to be Braden Van Wintergarten. Ninth is going to be Gray Walker. And rounding our top 10 is Evan Penteco. And also a driver who hasn't got a stage point this season, who's very close to the cut line, Sam Dyer back in 14th. Could we see his first stage point tonight here at lap 80? That will be an interesting sight to see. I think you might see Sam still back out of it here and try to survive to get to the end. But I'd like to see him try to get that stage point, especially with all these damaged cars here. But we'll see how that shakes up as the chooses happen. And Stallings, once again, choosing the top, but Wolsifer willing to choose the bottom.
Yeah, Zach, and we mentioned it pre-race that it's just these are one of those tracks where one little thing happens, and then all of a sudden it's drivers you just never expected to be up front competing for that win. A lot of drivers who are now in the top 10, I believe one, maybe two of them are actually here with a race victory this season. So now it's one of those wrenches thrown into it where, yeah, one of these drivers you didn't expect to win and make themselves in the playoffs is now competing for that win in the top 5.
This has been a fantastic race so far, but things have changed so quickly. As the Scootielou 200 being led by the Scootielou car too. I just noticed that for the paint scheme. I don't know how I haven't noticed that all night, but got the paint scheme of the sponsor running the show so far. We'll see, can Richard Wolsifer take advantage of the 4 fresh tires on the bottom and able to get ahead here? The question we will see here as they come to the restart zone. They look for the green flag, and it's out of the way as Dustin Stallings, once again, good start, but not the same as he had before because he doesn't have his teammate Brendan Maggs there no more. Stallings now going to clear, but Wolsifer trying to clear for a second so he can slide in front of Branville, but the 55 fights back as the 56 tries to close the door.
And keep in mind, Zach, now, the 00 is the only car out here now with 2 sets of right side tires. Everyone else has 4 fresh ones. So these drivers are going to be knocking on the door the whole time here. The 56 and the 55 are battling. And when most drivers battle side by side, usually the car in front, oh man, 55 into the wall again. But most of these drivers usually pull away when 2 drivers are battling side by side. But it just shows those left side tires really mean something. 56 and the 55 are fighting for that second place spot because I know eventually it could definitely turn into the lead.
That it very well could. We'll see here as Wolsifer closing down the back straightaway here. He wants to try to take his shot at the 00. Does the tires give him the advantage he's looking for? But look at this mess back here. Johnny Wood Jr., Ronnie Osmer, the 54 Coulter Clark on the apron there. But it's side by side between the 51 here and these cars as they're running down the back straightaway here. As you can see, these cars side by side.
And man, riding on board right there, looking on the right side of their car. I mean, those walls just come up at you fast. And oh, he sends a 51 around and he goes right on the outside wall. Oh, man.
Contact made, caution out on the speedway. Zachary King goes around, contact made by the 75 Johnny Wood Jr. there. And this is second time tonight we've seen the 51 go around with some contact here.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so difficult going through these turns and even more when it's side by side. 75 was just fighting hard at that 51, trying for each inch, and you could see how tight it got through 3 and 4. I think the 75 sent it hard into, you can see he sends it hard into 1 and 2, goes right up there and just has nowhere to go, gets real tight and goes right on the outside of the 51, sends him up. Thankfully, oh no, the 51 does hit the wall pretty hard on his nose. It'll definitely cause some damage for him, but And it's just not been the night for the 51 so far, Zach.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about that is that record was very interesting too, because it really seemed like from that view, it almost seems like the 75 washes up the track. But from other views, you can even almost say the 51 comes down the track. So it was very much kind of two drivers coming together there. So unfortunately, King, that nose damage he's going to take from it. But yeah, definitely some hard racing going on. Looks like a few other drivers going to hit pit road because of this. And as this has all been happening, Hunter, the lights have kicked on around the track and the lights have come on. So we'll see does this change up the racetrack at all too, as we near that end of stage 2 here with lap 71 complete so far, as we check out our weather conditions there on our screen.
Yeah, Zach, and it looks like the track temperature has cooled down just a little bit from the beginning of the race. Definitely going to make the track a lot more grippy now that the lights are on and now that they're racing in the dark a little bit, because the race did start in sunset, so the track was a little bit warmer. But I'm more curious on how the double zeros planning this out. I mean, cautions definitely breed cautions, and they're helping out Dustin Stallings a ton here, but I mean, you saw with the 56 and the 55 of Brandvold and Wolsifer that, I mean, the 4 tires just seem better. Even when they're side by side, they're able to stick with the double zero. So I'm honestly curious why he made the call. Clearly, it's not as big as a difference as we expected it to be. But I mean, only 9 laps here to go in this 9 laps to go here in the stage. That honestly, I would just wait till the end of the stage, take the 4 tires, and let's see if he can win both stages here tonight.
That would be an interesting case to see. So we'll see how he can fight them off. I mean, with the laps left here, I think Stallings in a good spot still with the control of this race. But at double zero, he's just been so consistent week in and week out, maybe looking for a 3rd victory. And that would be the first driver to do that this season. You know, we had Gavin Rogers win 2. He's not a full-time driver. So of the full-time drivers, Stallings is the only one with 2. But if he had that 3rd, that would be in a class of his own, and kind of what he's been when it comes to consistency this season with his points he's racked up over his competition.
Yeah, and to throw back to you, Zach, looking not quite the freaky fast Grand Slam, because he didn't get the pole, but he's trying to get the stage sweeps here with in that double zero machine. We only have 8 more to go, 7 to go on the stage when we take the green flag here. The outside line just been super dominant. I know the double zero is able to get the jump because he's the one who controls the restarts. Not as much as he did, like you mentioned earlier. The 23, his teammate no longer in the question. So the double zero has just been incredible in restarts. I don't see anything changing here, but I'm interested to see how the 55 and the 56 pan out here, as well as a 98 of Jared Hughes. With only 7 to go on the stage here, and these drivers fighting for every point they can get in the stage here, Zach, this might be an interesting one.
Very well could be. We'll see how it works out. Pace car is in. Dustin Stallings leading the way on 2 tires. Winner of stage number 1. Can he win stage 2 as the green flag is out? He gets a great start. That 2nd row, though, Brandvold almost able to clear Richard Wolsifer. Can he fight back around the outside, or does Jared Hughes make his presence known as Brandvold slides up the track and closes the door on the 56, as we got some battling going farther back as they're wrecking off the exit at 2, and they're going around off the corner.
And yeah, now the age-old statement of just cautions breed cautions here. I mean, they're 1 and 2. These drivers fighting for each spot, but I mean, I'm honestly curious to see what happened there. I didn't get a good view of it, but I mean, it's just these drivers now. A lot of these cars in the back are very damaged and driving completely different. Where it's just with the track already being very difficult to drive with a clean car, I don't see it being much easier with a car that's got a lot of damage.
It definitely does not help things for sure. As this was all around the 18 of Gray Walker, our winner last week from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So this was an interesting mode there. As you see, the 18 is going to come down here into the entry of turn number 1, and this is just going to be some hard racing again between a lot of drivers. And the driver right behind him, I'm not sure who that is. The 81 of Evan Pentenko. Looks like he's going to get in the back of the 18. So that was just unfortunate contact between those two that's going to bring out the caution.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where the inside line kind of checked up, and the 81 of Patenko just had nowhere to go. But yeah, Zach, I mean, these drivers, they fan out here almost 3 wide into 1 and 2 there. 81 just looking to the inside of the 18, and yeah, just goes right around. I don't know if you noticed earlier as well, going into the corner, these drivers have such a different braking line. The 10 car of Cameron Gilmore just went hard into the car that was right in front of him on the outside line.
Yeah, I did see that in the background happen. Has been a little bit of mayhem here in stage 2 as these drivers have seemed to catch up and have a few moments of disasters. You see right here down the corner, cool little contact from the 88, I believe, with Jensen up to him. Is that's going to be that wreck in there, and luckily the 10 stays out of it there. But I think there was a car somewhere farther back that did get involved with some of that.
Yeah, Zach, I'm honestly curious. I believe we will reach lap 80. No, we're currently at lap 75 with only 2 to go here. They should take the choose here when they get to the start-finish line. So about a green-white checkered finish here for the stage. I know the 00 is going to get an incredible jump here, but from 3 all the way back to about 10th, it's going to be hard fighting for who gets the stage points here.
That it is. This is going to be a brawl right here because of how short this run is going to be. Everybody knows they're going to have to do what they want here as they are doing their choose cone. It looks like Stallings once again taking the outside line whilst from the bottom. Brandvold in 3rd up top. Matthew Shelby there in 4th on the bottom side. Is a lot of drivers willing to risk it here. They know what's on the line. Can they make it happen? It's going to be the big question I think we all have, Hunter.
Yeah, and the 46 of Matthew Selby, we even mentioned him a lot tonight, but now he's up there, that second car on that inside line looking for a spot here. The 56 and the 55 of Wolsifer and Brandvold have been battling for that second position ever since that big accident that took out most of the top 10 earlier this race. They've been fighting for that second place behind Stallings, but now the 46 of Matthew Selby and the 98 of Jared Hughes are fighting for those top 3 positions as well. So, Zach, with only 3 to go here at the stage, I'm expecting very aggressive racing.
Very aggressive racing is going to be the nature of it for sure. Pace car is in the pit road. Dustin Stallings, our points leader and our stage 1 winner, going to lead us back to green here for the Scootielou 200 here for the Worldwide Technology Raceway Park. And there you go. It is the 00 once again shot out of a cannon, but second is the battle on back.
00, just nobody even able to compete with him. But now the 56 and the 55, Wolsifer and Brandvold battling hard. The 56 of Wolsifer able to clear him, and now these drivers kind of fanning out single file through about the top 7 here. Almost 3 wide in the back there between the 10 now. And oh man, Zach, these drivers are not holding back. They're trying to get every point in position they can before we go to the stage. Only 2 more to go once they get to the start-finish line here. But man, these drivers are fighting for every inch they got.
That they are. What are you willing to risk is going to be the question a lot of these drivers have. First driver on fresher tires is Jared Hughes in the 98. Has a huge save. He goes from all the way in the top 5 now outside that top 10 as he's going to slide back as Gilmore in the 10 machine fighting the 88 Eric Jensen. This is for the final spot in the stage points. Who is going to grab that final bonus point?
It looks like the 98 of Hughes downshifted too quickly, sent it in the corner, clipped the 46 of Matthew Selby and just lost it. Thankfully, he's able to save it, but he went all the way to the back now behind even the 13 of Kyle Heath, who surprisingly, even after hitting that wall, is able to move himself throughout the field.
It's been an excellent job by all these drivers to get these moves done. Is look at Hughes now trying to fight back after that moment. He gets around the 23 of Brendan Maddox, who still trying to recover from that damage of that incident from previously before. But as these battles are going on, Dustin Stallings up front. He's going to take the white flag for stage number 2 here for the Scootielou 200. Can Wolsifer mount a charge here? He's close, Hunter. This is going to be an opportunity here down the back straight, possibly if he can gather a run.
Absolutely, and you can see him diving down towards the center of the backstretch to kind of break that draft from the 56. But I got to tip my hat to the 00 here, Zach. Taking that 2-tire strategy was a lot bolder of a call than I expected, and actually worked out in his favor. He's going to take the green and white checker here to win the stage. And man, that 00 took track position over tires, and it paid off. That 56 of Wolsifer, 55 of Brandvold, 46 of Selby, and the 00 or 07 of Josh C. Anderson, will finish out your top 5. But man, I did not expect 2 tires to work out as well as it did, Zach.
Yeah, that was super impressive from the 00 as another stage victory for Dustin here, as he's going to be able to try to bring it back to pit road as they pace around this giant 1.25 mile racetrack as they catch up to that pace car. But Stallings, picture perfect night. Only thing, like you said, Hunter, he's missing is that pole position, but I don't think he's going to be worried about that at all. I think all that man wants to see is that checker flag possibly in his hands for the third time this season.
Oh, absolutely. And the 00 is the car to beat tonight, 100%. He's the points leader. He's a driver that shows up week in and week out. I believe he has a 68-point lead in front of the 15 of Ronnie Osmer. So 2 wins already, 6 top 5s in 10 starts, 8 top 10s in 10 starts. I mean, this 00 is just showing week in and week out. It doesn't matter the track. I'm going to be the guy to beat. And it's incredible. Even on 2 tires, he was able to lead the field.
Yeah, we'll see what their decision is here. Does anybody else take the 2-tire strategy this time, or do we see others? As Ronnie Osmer, he's going to stay out. Same with Johnny Wood Jr., so they're going to cycle to the lead. So we are going to have some drivers such as Bertel, a few definitely coming through the pit road. Is we want to give a shout out there to Matthew Shelby for being our Whiplash Sim Cam's biggest mover of the race so far. So make sure give them a shout out, as they're our camera provider here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, as Shelby has been one of the biggest movers through the field. But our stage 2 winner, Stallings, taking 2 tires on that first stop. Not going to be 2 tires this time. He's going to come out much farther back here, and we'll see if we can actually get a chat with him quickly here before this stage is all said and done. As they're pulling off a pit road, we'll pull them down here to the waiting room from Maverick Motorsports and have a chat with our stage 1 and 2 race, our stage 1 and 2 winner here at the Scootielou 200 here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway Park of Dustin Stallings. Hey, Dustin, this is Zach up in the booth. You got a copy?
What's going on, buddy?
Hey, man, I tell you what, great job tonight, winning both of the open stages here. Take us through it, and how do you feel now that you're going to be a little bit farther back here and it's a little bit of a track position loss?
Yeah, the car feels pretty good, especially on the long run. It kind of seems like the second stage has been kind of caution filled, and it's kind of kept me a little from getting in a rhythm. But now having to deal with traffic here is going to be interesting. So I just got to race the track and not the people around me is what I would like to say.
It's definitely, I think, going to be that case, as you would say, Dustin, man. But congrats on the stage victory. Wanted to get a quick shout out to you and talk to you. But we'll send you back up to your team for this restart and for the rest of this race.
All right, thank you, guys.
All right, you heard there from Dustin Stallings. We send him back up to his team at Maverick Motorsports. As they're all going to get lined up and double filed here, Hunter. This is going to be interesting now. Ronnie Osmer going to be our leader. Johnny Wood Jr. in second. But this is pushed Dustin Stallings all the way back to 10th. This is going to be quite the climb for a few, and I think it's going to be tough to see how that track position plays out here.
Yeah, absolutely. And the 00's got to be careful. He's the first car in fresh tires, and he's all the way back in what looks like 10th place in the fifth, sixth row here. So he's going to have to play careful. We've seen it with the drivers who got too aggressive and just sent either themselves around or another car around them, including themselves around. So got to be very careful here as we take it to the restart, Zach.
Here we are, restart zone. Ronnie Osmer, our leader. Andrew Mattel in the front row, and green flag is back out our way as Osmer takes off. He's going to have some of the oldest tires in the field, 20 laps on these tires, but a lot of it was under caution. So we'll see how that works out. Johnny Wood Jr. pitted 14 laps ago, Bertel 10 laps ago. So we've got a little bit of wear on the front tires up here from the front group, but a lot of drivers really from about 6 on back who just hit pit road, who took 2 tires. It's going to get wild. As you see it heating up farther back there. It looks like our stage winner Stallings right in the middle of it, 3 wide off the exit of 4.
Yeah, the 27 of Christian Barnes sending it 3 wide, trying to get every spot he can, with the 88 in front of him as well. And now we have the 00 of Dustin Stallings. All of these drivers trying to get as much track position as they can. And oh my goodness, they're pulling tight here, and they're stacking up on this inside line. And oh my goodness, Zach, yeah, these drivers are getting aggressive. We have about 90 or so laps to go here. The 00 Dustin Stallings moving through the field. It's already up about 3 spots on how we started. But yeah, these drivers are wasting no time. I know we still have 90 laps here, but they're treating it like there's only 5 to go.
Definitely on that loud pedal, so to say. Is right now Gray Walker under attack as this thing Barnes around the top, Eric Jensen around the top. Now Jossie Anderson and Matthew Shelby under attack for that 18 machine as this grouping has stayed side by side since the drop of the green flag. And look at the run from Shelby. He pushes the 18 down the back straightaway. We'll see how this helps out.
These drivers not giving up an inch whatsoever. Gray Walker trying to hold on to the 11th spot, but the 46 is Shelby's knocking on the door right onto that bumper, giving him a shot there on exit. Oh my goodness. Now we have the 13 of Kyle Heath showing his way on the outside. The 46 almost kind of showing his anger, saying, hey, I'm here, man. You got to get out of the way. Now he's shooting in the middle groove, almost sends the 13 on the wall here. Now we got to drive around the 88, holding on to it through the wall, and now spinning through the grass.
Eric Jensen goes around, and just like that, the yellow flag is going to come out. So that car's sideways enough there down in the grass, deemed by iRacing to bring out that yellow, and that's going to bring us back and re-rack us. And I tell you what, that was chaos and mayhem right there for those couple laps, just showing the different strategies and the different sets of cars out here. It's been definitely a wild mixture right here as we get to see what exactly happened to bring out this yellow Honda.
Yeah, and I know we didn't really touch on it there, but the two leaders were really duking it out. The 15 of Osmer and the 75 of Wood Jr. Wood Jr. was almost on his rear bumper that entire restart right before we saw the 88 spin through the infield. But, and Zach, I know I said I wanted these drivers to keep it easy, but man, they were not showing any sort of way of holding back. They wanted to go, and they wanted to go quick.
They definitely were willing to send it there as you see the 88. Unfortunately, a little bit of self-spin there for himself. Just getting loose there off the exit of the corner. But Ronnie Osmer up front, Johnny Wood Jr., they know the value. They know how critical it is to stay up front. I mean, Stallings, till that point, no one had passed him. It had been 0 lead changes. The only lead changes happened is through pit sequence here. So it just shows you how important it is to stay out front. Right now, everybody trying to think, how can I stay in front of that position?
Yeah, Zach, we saw it at Dover with the 15 of Osmer. He likes to cut those stages short, take the tires, and then prioritize track position when it comes to the end of the stage or the beginning of stage 2. I know he didn't do it at stage 2 this week, but he definitely did it for the final and most important stage. So the 15 of Osmer definitely prioritizing track position. And Zach, I kind of agree with this call here because track position's so important here, and it's so difficult to pass. Like we saw with the 00 Stallings, he only took 2 tires, but that's all that mattered. That's all that got him the stage win. So if you can stay up front here, that's all that really matters.
I completely agree with you, Hunter. This is I think is an excellent call here, especially a track like this, to play this type of strategy. Yeah, he is giving up stage points, but Osmer in a very good points position. He came here second in points tonight. Yes, 68 back from Stallings. He's lost out in the stages too. But Osmer wants to get wins. He wants to add to that total. He's got 1 so far this season. He wants to add another one to his list. And tonight, with the way the strategy is playing out, he's got the track position for the time being. This could be the opportunity he looks for, as I think you're going to see here. The choose happening is both our 2 leaders pick the outside. It's going to be the 6er Rattel throwing himself back to the inside. Is Zachary King going to restart second, or the second car on the inside also?
Yeah, more importantly, keep an eye out on that 7th place car, Dustin Stallings. He'll be on the 4th row on the outside, just trying to cut his way through this field. Fortunately, has been just taking it very easy, trying to make his way throughout the field without any problems or aggression. But right now, I mean, this outside line just looks like it's been so much better, and we've seen it throughout the race here. I got to tip my hat to the 75 of Johnny Wood Jr. as well as the 51 of Zachary King. I know they've had problems throughout the race here, but they're still able to make their way up throughout the field. Just keep a big eye out for that 75 of Wood Jr. He was all over the bumper of the 15 of Osmer that last restart. He definitely has the fresher tires, and now I'm curious to see how successful he will be on this restart and eventual run.
Yeah, this is going to be a telltale sign here of what we have to go for the rest part of this race. Is we're getting down to 91 of 175. It is getting to be the crunch time as we crawl to that restart zone. Osmer leading the way, as it's going to be Ronnie Osmer out front leading the green flag, and it's going to be Johnny Wood Jr. trying to fight around Rattel here as we head down to 1 and 2.
incredible jump by the 15 there. He was just able to smooth sail into 1 and 2. Now the 75 of Wood Jr. and Rattel fighting for that spot. Rattel's going to get loose off the exit there, and now just going to give up the spot to 75 of Johnny Wood Jr., now falling in behind the 51 of Zachary King. Now keep an eye out here for the 75 of Wood Jr. He's definitely much stronger through the center of the corners through both 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. But just with the dirty air, it makes the car handle so much differently. Zach. The 15's just able to get a much better run to the beginning of the restart, and it's just so hard to get to the back bumper of a car with this dirty air in the new updated package.
It is very important to have that clean air. And right now, as we're out front with it, is right there. You see Walsifer on them fresher tires trying to fight his way forward in the 56 machine around Pateco. Just can't find it for the time being. As Rattel now fighting him, the 56 of Walsifer is finding the speed. As Barnes right here ahead of Dustin Stallings back there. He's fighting along with Matthew Shelby in that group, and everybody trying to fight tooth and nail with the older tires, but the fresher tires are starting to prevail.
Yeah, absolutely. And the 00 is just slowly, methodically making his way through the field here. It's just, you can see how difficult that inside line is with him, even with fresher tires, working on the 27, and he's just not able to get the run through the corner and through the exit that 27 is able to get. But there you go, Zach, and that 00 is not trying to get side by side with the 27, but I mean, that outside line is just so good, especially on exit. I mean, Justin Stallings on fresher tires definitely shown to be the class of the field so far, but now with that car in dirty air, it's definitely handling a lot different.
And yeah, you can see there, you're behind the 6 there, lost that nose on entry, almost contact between him and the 27 there. So, oh, and there will be contact down the back straightaway. No, that's going to wreck too. Stallings going to be in the exit of the wall, and he's going to come back across the track. Yellow flag is out. Our stage 1 and 2 winner and our winner from Kansas come together on the back straightaway.
Oh man, Zach, and it's gonna get to a point where I just gotta stop talking about drivers and how well they're doing throughout the day. The 00 just, oh man, it just a horrible turn of events for him. We've seen it all day long. I mean, it's just so tight on the exit of 1 and 2, and he just tried to get out of it, and he just took the outside bumper of that 27, and they both went out. 00 on the outside of the wall. Thankfully, it doesn't look like he served too much damage there. Just kind of clipped it and spun it on the inside of the field. Thankfully, he locked it up here. But as you can see, he just got a little tight. Went right in that quarter panel. That's all it takes. And he just tried to get out of it. And he goes to the outside wall, sends a 27 hard into that inside wall.
Well, you see how close it was for so many. Let's say Lieutenant Gilmore barely missing that 00 there when he went by. That was epic stuff there for everybody to get by, luckily. So we could have seen a big explosion, and I'm glad we didn't, because that would have been a lot of hurt race cars. But right now, the pit road is open, and there's definitely some drivers taking advantage of it as we take a look here from the 10. And I want to see what he saw, because we think he was one of the ones that was very close with, and he got luckily slowed down there. Luckily, unlike compared to the drivers around him.
Yeah, that's 71 of Carl Pooler, Zach. I don't know if you saw that, but I think he was a little lead-footed there. I think it's what we call an ARCA brake. He was not holding back. He wanted that position. He went right past the 00, spinning right back down in the field. That was an interesting tournament. Oh, I didn't even see the 81 go around there, but oh man, what a ride for some of these drivers.
There was a lot of things transpire there. You see the 98 of Hughes. It was just chaos down the back straightaway here at Gateway, and we'll see a little bit better view of what happened here, Hunter. And this is something that happened so easy. We've seen hard racing here tonight, and these drivers are going to be taking every chance and available opportunity to them. And sometimes when things happen ahead of you, you make a reaction to miss it, and that catches you out.
100%. And trying to track like this, oh man, a heavy hit for the 07 there. Heavy hit. That's going to do damage to the interior of the car. But at 98 of the 98 of Gerard Hughes, I mean, it's one of these things, Zach, where a track like this, where it's just high speed and tight exits, you just have pileups like that where drivers have nowhere to go and nowhere to save it.
You really do. This is was a tough little ending there for a few of those drivers. Luckily, the damage wasn't too sustained for that many, but man, that was a wild ride for a few there, as we've had our choose code. And once again, Ronnie Osmer up front leading the way. Richard Wolsifer, he's now up there on 4 tires, up to second. So this could get spicy. Johnny Wood Jr. going just on the outside in 4th, and Zachary King will restart on the bottom in third. So this is shaking things up here with some of these yellows, and it's allowed now Richard Wolfsford to have a good opportunity here to go at it with these newer tires than the 15.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm intrigued to see how the 56 treats us. He's definitely got much fresher tires, definitely got a much faster car with these fresh tires underneath them. But this inside line, we've seen it, even with the 00, with the fastest car on the track, he's just not able to make it stick. I'm hoping the 56 doesn't drive super heavy into the corner and put both of them into the outside wall here. So I'm curious to see how these two drivers handle it.
It's going to be a critical restart. We've seen all night. They've been wild. They've been all over the place, and green flag is back out. Ronnie Osmer, way to take off once again as he gets shot out of a cannon, but it's the 56er Wolfsford who's trying to vie here for second over Johnny Wood Jr. Those two teammates at Limitless Esports, we'll see. Looks like Wood Jr. just allows them to slide up. So we'll see. Does the 56 have the opportunity with the fresher tires now to take the advance to the 15?
I definitely do believe so. And Zach, I mean, it just, I've seen it the entire race. I don't think I've ever seen the second place car who isn't the control car, that first car on either the inside or outside lane that isn't the leader, is able to get nowhere near as good as a jump as the leader does. I mean, the leader almost gets half a second to a second of a better jump than the other car. That it doesn't really matter. I haven't seen many side-by-side battles going into between the front two cars here, so really whoever's the leader, it doesn't really matter as much as who has fresher tires. They're just able to get so much of a better jump than the second place car.
They really are. And here you can see Kyle Heath trying to find his way back through. We saw the incident earlier with his teammate in the 24 getting into it with a few others that he got caught up in. He's trying to make the climb through, racing side by side there with that 19 at Perkins. But here comes the 55 Brandvold. He's trying to take advantage of this racing. Can Heath, though, clear the 19? It looks like he will. Big drive into the corner, and Heath put him up to 7th here.
And how about that, Zach? That's incredible. I mean, the 13 was hard into that inside wall only 30, 40 laps ago after that battle when he was in the top 3 trying to take that lead there. That took out a large section of the leaders. So the 13 really holding his own now, up to 7th behind the 46 of Matthew Selby, who's been really well so far this race. And the 13 of Kyle Heath, he sat it on the pole. He knows he's really quick here, but even with this damage repaired, Zach, he's able to move through the field with swiftness.
It really is, and this is impressive to see from 13. So we'll see what he can do with Matthew Shelby next. It'll be Andrew Rattel next after that. And of the drivers on tires, he's one of the freshest sets. You know, him, Shelby, and Wolfsford, all 19 laps on their tires, 37 for Osmer out front. So we'll see what can happen here. Does the tires start to fall from the 15 to 75, the drivers who stayed out here, or can they keep that track position up? As right now, the 13 of Heath continues his rebound.
Yeah, that 13 of Heath is not holding back either. Now he's going to close the gap of the 46 of Matthew Selby. He must have taken tires more recently than other drivers here, but Zach, Ronnie Osmer in the 15, I honestly, I gotta say I'm surprised. I thought he was able to, get a good jump, but with the older tires over the 56, it would eventually fall off. But right now he's holding his own, keeping about the same gap and running around the same times as the 56 of Richard Wolfsford. So right now, we saw it with the 00 in the second stage with right side tires. Track position is so important here.
It is very, very important, Hunter, for sure. Is like you said, the times has just been very even between these two. Wolfsford on a stay close, but the 15 just a little bit quicker, being able to be out front. And you can see there, even the 56 at the time, a little scuff to the wall, trying to get everything out of that car. It just shows you clean air is so valuable with this latest update. And Osmer doing a great job out front right now. Johnny Wood Jr. trying to solidify himself here in third, with Zachary King doing a great job there running fourth. Andrew Rattel back in fifth. Matthew Shelby still sixth. Kyle Heath still fighting seventh here, with Brandvold right behind Jared Hughes in the ninth after his wreck. Ultra Clark rounding out in the top 10.
Yeah, looking throughout the field, Zach, so far now these drivers are kind of single filed out, working their way, just picking off the drivers one by one. About 70 laps to go here at Gateway. I believe they have to pit one more time. I don't know how many laps you can go at this track here, Zach, on a full tank of fuel. They only have 80% here. Could this turn into another race where they're saving fuel at the end and it just turns into one of those fuel mileage races?
It very well could. We'll have to see if that's what it shapes up to be. I'm unsure to know how much they really can make with, but we've seen, I mean, Indianapolis, fuel mileage, Dover, fuel mileage. So the last few races have been that way, and drivers who have been able to solve it the earliest have been in the best positions. Is right now Heath trying to attack that 46 from Shelby. He had the outside for a moment, but just a little too deep, not able to hold that on that right rear.
Yeah, and to go back on the fuel mileage topic, Zach, these cars are shifting every single corner. They're using all the high RPMs they can get and all the speed they can get out of this car. So even though it's not like a super speedway like Daytona, Michigan, Talladega, where they're driving on the gas pedal the entire time, they're revving the car up high every single time, sitting on board with the 54 Clark. He only goes down to 4th gear here. We were seeing most of the leaders going down all the way into 3rd and really revving up that car in for engine braking. So Zach, I would not be surprised here if this turns into a fuel stretch race.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. So we're seeing right now Coulter Clark here running right here in that dirty air. That can be so critical. He's right behind Bramble, but he's actually got the threat of Barnes right behind him. You see that mirror, how close that 27 is. You might take a look here down in the 1 and 2 as he's going to take a look to the inside of the 55. So right here, when it stacks up this accordion effect, you can look to the driver ahead of you inside, and it can give up the chance for the driver behind. And now look at this, Barnes is going to take a shot down the back straightaway.
Now side by side going into 3 and 4. See the 27 can hold it out. Dead even going to the center of the corner, but now the 55 here is checking up a little bit. Now the 27 trying to send it through there. Still side by side off of the exit, but that outside line just so good. Looks like the 27 has much better tires, just can't hold it through there. It's super, super tight there. You can see how hard the 27 gets on the brakes there, though, with how the front side rotor's just glowing bright red there. These drivers are really pushing their cars to the limit.
Pushing everything to a limit here in this final stage, this final run to the end of this race to see who will be the winner of the Scootielou 200 here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. But I can tell you one thing, we're going to take our second commercial break of the night as we're under green flag conditions, and these drivers are starting to get a little bit separated here and get things closer to possibly a green flag stop. Or will they be able to stretch it out? We'll get to see that here when we step back here with the Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in so far. Again, this is the Scootielou 200 here for the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series. You won't miss a thing. We'll be back in a few, folks. And we are back here. Look at this racing here. Barnes right on the inside of Shelby here. And also Coulter Clark. This is the battle from 10th and 8th. As you also got Cameron Gilmore right there into the mix also. But this has all been going on, battling great. The leaders up front here, they've been going at 200 at 56, keeping the pressure on that 15.
Because I can have been watching it the entire commercial break. The 56 is not holding back. Oh, no, it looks like we have a caution here, Zach. I believe so. No, it's not the 00. It
looks like Coulter Clark possibly here, guys.
Yeah.
Look at the 54 here. We saw that battling going on between the 27 and the 46 there. Shelby, I think this is going to be an incident down here in 3 and 4, and just an unfortunate mistake here by Coulter Clark, I think.
Yeah, the 54. Yeah, I believe it was the 54 that went around there. I can't seem to get the angle there. But yeah, the 54 just hard racing between the 27 there. 54 hard on the inside line, just trying to make the angle. It looks like he right down on the rumble strip, clipped the inside of the grass. Wasn't the issue there. Side by side with the 27, and there it was right there in the apron, hard on the outside fence. And he goes right in the outside line, or excuse me, outside barrier. But it looks like that apron just sent him right around. Just was sitting back for the ride after that and went right into a hard look on the outside wall.
Made a really good move there and wanted you to get the crossover, the big run. Then down here in 3 and 4, got really on the inside, tried to make sure, I think got a little loose on the issue, got on those curves, slid up the track, and then tried to get that car back lower again and got way too much curb and got way too, it bottomed out. And that was unfortunate right there. I think, unfortunately, I don't think he was going to hold on to that thing if he even went over it another time.
Yeah, definitely not. And that 54 just, it looks like if you clipped any of the apron, it would just send you right around. I think it was one of those bumps that just kind of bottomed out the suspension. He went for a ride. He clipped the grass. I don't know if you noticed that, Zach, but he clipped the grass going into the corner. Didn't seem to show him any issue there, but the second he touched that apron, it just sent him right to that outside wall. Thankfully, he didn't get the 27 involved, but, I mean, we were watching that battle, Zach, with the 15 and the 56 of Wolsifer and Osmer, and the 15 with much worse tires, much older tires than the 56, he was just able to hold them off. The dirty air has such a factor here, and track position is key. I think these drivers are starting to learn that right now it's more important to be in front of someone with clean air than having fresher tires.
That it is, and we may have had big decisions on pit road. Jared Hughes, 2 tires stopped for him. Zachary King also. So our top 2's positions, I'm going to take 2 tires. Ronnie Osmer will be the first one on 4, back in 3rd. Same for Richard Wolsifer there. But man, oh man, we've seen 2 tires work so well tonight. Jared Hughes says, you know what? I'm going to be the man to do it this time.
Yeah, absolutely, Zach, and I like it. I love the call. I mean, it worked with the 00 Stallings. It won him the second stage. Zachary King noticed it as well. Now we have the 15 choosing the bottom line here, the 98 choosing the outside, as well as the 51 of Zachary King. So we've seen it all race, Zach, especially with fresher tires. I mean, that outside line is just way more dominant. It looks like the inside's working a little bit better now that the track's cooled down. There's more grip towards the bottom. But, I mean, with these fresher tires, even with the cleaner air with the 2 cars up front and the 98 having the discretion on the restart, I mean, it's just, I think it's smooth sailing for the 98 here. Only 55 more laps to go here. I think he can make it. I think the 98 can do it here. I know fuel probably is out of the question now, so it'll be interesting to see how these next 55 laps pan out.
This is going to be wild. Can Jared Hughes add his name to the winners list this season? He's had speed. He's had moments where Hughes has been one of the top drivers, and you see King behind him on the same 2 tires trying to get some heat in them here. This is going to be a critical restart here for the 98 and the 51. Can they clear that bottom lane? Can they hold back the 4 tires? Can Hughes make the most of 2 tires in the lead, but he takes off amazingly, and Osmer going to actually spin the tires. It's going to be 3 wide for second into 1.
3 wide indeed, and 56 backs off, lets the 51 of Zachary King take it. Now the 15 and the 51 of Osmer and King are fighting for that second place spot side by side. Tight off of the exit of 2, but they're able to hold it. Now dead even side by side. And the 51's got an advantage with the help of the 56 of Wolsifer behind him. Now the 51's able to clear the 15. 15 right on, almost cuts off the nose of the 15 Osmer there. But now the single file. Oh, and hard to the wall goes the 6.
Head first for the 6 of Rattel, and that right there going to bring out another yellow. Hughes holding on to the lead. Zachary King in second. The 2 tires for the time being the right call. But man, oh man, Andrew Rattel, after contact between him and Christian Barnes here, his car goes dead right into the outside wall, and that is night over, I believe, for this 6 machine, because that is required damage.
Yeah, absolutely, and it looks like the 6 was fighting on the outside with the 27, and it just, 27 moved up the track just ever so slightly. The 6 slides to the left, tries to correct it to the right, and it just sends him right head on to the wall. So unfortunate news for the 6 of Rattel. I mean, that's a race-ending crash right there for the 6 car. Christian Barnes just kind of put his nose there, letting him know the 6 was there. But I mean, one heck of a ride for the 6 car. Tries to save it, and oh man, that's a hard lick, Zach.
Yeah, he tries to save that car, and when the front tires gripped up, it went hard right on him. And unfortunate for Rattel, this is gonna look like it's gonna end his night, because that just looks like major engine damages. Others will take the chance to come to pit road here. Jared Hughes stays in the lead out front. Zachary King in second, and Ronnie Osmer on the 4 tires there in third. Was got to give credit to Richard Wolsifer. He could have took a big risk on that last restart in the middle of that 3-wide situation. He backed out and let that 51 back in. That was some heads up move by the 56.
Yeah, absolutely. And just looking through the top 5 here, the 13 of Kyle Heath, I mean, you just can't count him out. It's unreal, actually, how he was able to have such a heavy hit on an inside fence earlier this race towards halfway, and now he's already up here. And Zach, we have 52 more laps to go after this, so the 13 of Kyle Heath, you just can't take the eyes away from him. The 15 of Ronnie Osmer has been incredible, even with older tires. I mean, it's one of those races, Zach, where it's just there's so many wrenches thrown into the question that I don't even know what to expect these next 50 or so laps.
I'd have to agree with you, Hunter. It's going to be a wild one. These guys are going to have to really buckle down, because it's gonna be a situation where I think it's going to all come down to what type of strategy you want to play. If we get more and more yellow flags, it's going to be a race of when do you want to pit. If you want to pit again, do you want to stay out? How do you race this race? So this is where things start to get murky. And right now, Jared Hughes playing the 2-tire strategy to get the lead. He wants to see some laps definitely click away here, possibly, and maybe later get a green flag or get a caution flag stop that allow him to keep that track position that he's gotten from these 2 tires. So this is always the long game with 2 tires, is gain the track position. The 98's been handed the lead. Can he hold on to it?
Yeah, it's just been the thing where all day it's just clean air and track position is so much stronger than clean tires. This is a very, very difficult place to pass, and with the 98 having the discretion to jump, we've seen it every restart, Zach. It's just they jump, they get so much better jump, whoever the leader is, that they take off. And so far, I mean, with these longer runs, I don't think we've seen the pass for the lead that we were expecting with the cleaner tires here. So it'll be interesting to see what this restart here, Zach.
It will be. Let's see how this one goes. Hughes with control of the field. He gets this good start, but King really able to get a start when it was the 15, who much better than last time, didn't spin them tires. But it's a gaggle back here fighting on the leaders also. All going for it is Ronnie Osmer. He is on the inside here, and he is going for the lead.
Yeah, and the 13 with a interesting restart. It looks like he started in 3rd gear, and it just sent him all the way back there. Started in 5th, now fighting for the 10th position. But here we go with the 15 looking on the inside of the 98. He's showing his speed. He's going to clear it with the move on the inside. Wow, that's one of the moves we haven't seen all race with the move. And the 98 pinched him all the way down to that inside line. And the 15 was still able to hold it without getting tight. Now here comes the 51 of Zachary King looking on the inside, and he's going to easily clear him through the center of the corner. Now we have the 51 looking for the, and here comes the 98 again with the 51. Not going to make a move there, but man, Zach, in one corner, we saw the 98 go from 1st to 3rd.
It is wild to see power move being made by Ronnie Osmer on the 4 tires, but Zachary King on 2 tires, able to make the move also on the 98. So great job by the 51. He wants an opportunity to try to go win this race, but Ronnie Osmer now in the catbird seat, in position to win this thing. But it's Richard Wolfsfer, the 56, who was looking at his back bumper earlier before the caution. He wants to get back in that position again because now he's got 2 cars in between them. 3 wide.
3 wide there. With the 13, and Kyle Heath is able to go around the 71 on the 10 there. But yeah, I'm looking back. He started in 3rd gear. I don't know if he was caught snoozing there a bit, but man, that's huge. I mean, he was in 5th. Now he's fighting his way back up to 7th. So now he's just trying to work his way back to where he started on the restart. Seeing how this race has trended so far, though, Zach, we're going to have plenty of restarts here, but it'll be interesting to see how the 13 goes. But now 15 of Ronnie Osmer was easily able to clear that 98. Now here's the 58 of Zachary King saying, all right, I'm going to do the same thing that you did with Hughes, fighting right hard on that back bumper here. But with this dirty air, it's just so difficult with drivers who have even tires to make a pass, especially with one on the outside and the inside.
That it really is, Hunter. It is definitely difficult to do, but King showing strength here, really able to do well on the 2 tires and solidify his positioning right now, as this could be one of his best runs of the season. If the 51 pulled off this win, what a story that would be. He's got another good run on the 15 here. We're gonna run this outside groove here. This is a very interesting line. Look at this, downshift the 3rd and then cut down here. This is definitely interesting. I mean, it lost him a bunch of time there, but again, just trying things and doing different things. King out here, he's really trying to learn what he can do. But behind them, Christian Barnes, he's attacking the 75 of Johnny Wood Jr. This is for a top 5 spot farther back.
Yeah, and there's a 27 of Barnes. Now Heath looking on the inside of him. Kyle Heath just working his way up. He started 5th in the restart, had issues with his restart, but now he's trying to work his way up, fighting for that 6th place position. And there we see it again. That inside line is just so hard to make a move, and the 27's got just a much better run than the 13 there. But I mean, Zach, these drivers only 44 laps here to go here, and they're seeing the laps tick down, and now we're going to see drivers get more and more aggressive here on the inside line. That 13 is showing his power. He's showing that he has quicker tires, but with that outside line here, we've seen it since the beginning of the race. They're just not able to make it work.
It's very tough to do for sure. Is Heath showing the speed, just not able to get around that 13, not able to get on that 27 at the moment. But right now, everybody's single file for the time being. Drivers starting to get into the rhythm, so to say, mode of this run. This is where now it's going to be, how can you manage your stuff? How can you utilize it here as we get farther and farther, or closer and closer to the end of this race here? And Ronnie Osmer definitely in the perfect spot right now, as you're going to see Branville back here. He's making a move on the 81 of Evan Patenko that moved him up to 14th. So Branville trying to move his way back into the top 10 where he was running earlier.
Yeah, and just looking throughout the field here, Zach, the leader of Ronnie Osmer is just, he's played the strategy perfectly. I mean, only 42, 43 laps to go here before we call it a night, and he called it perfectly. I mean, he cut the stage in stage 2, took the lead now, and we've seen track position and clean air just show its power all night. And throughout the field, now that we're single file out, it's just so much harder for drivers to make their way throughout the field and pick drivers off one by one. So, Zach, I mean, with 42 laps to go here, if it stays green, these drivers are going to stay spread it out, and it's going to be difficult to see a lot of changes throughout the field. But well, now I got to bite my tongue here as a 13 is able to make the move on the inside of the 27 of Christian Barnes here. So we saw it earlier in the race that the longer the runs, the fresher, the better the tires, the better the drivers are able to save their tires, the easier they were to pass on the inside. We still have a long ways to go. 41 laps is a long ways at Gateway. So maybe drivers can start picking off. Kyle Heath only in 6th, only a second and a half from the leader. Who knows, Zach?
Yeah, this is wild to see. I mean, he's done a great job to get back up to 6 here, Hunter. So great job by Heath making the passes. Now he'll set his sights on Johnny Wood Jr., who's running some quick times also. But right now, it's Richard Wolfsfer who's closed up to Zachary King, and it's 3 wide up there between them and a lap car. That's Dustin Stallings is going to get by. It is now the 56 of Wolfsfer. Put him up in second as King hard into the outside wall.
Oh my goodness, yeah, he's gonna keep part of his sponsor on that outside wall there. He hit it so hard it kicked up smoke. That 51 of King is now trying to hold on to that right there. Now we have the 98 of Hughes fighting on his back bumper there, man. He is loose. He is sliding.
Toe link. He's definitely got a bent wheel or something because that car looks very evil. When he got to the corner, just they wanted to snap on him. And that's what a lot of times we'll see when you bend those links. It'll just make that car very evil when you turn to the left. So we'll see what King can do. Maybe just try to solidify himself for now, but drop back to 6 here, right ahead of Christian Barnes. That's allowed Heath to get back into the top 5. Who, as I say that, he's going for it on Jared Hughes and Johnny Wood Jr. right ahead of him. So Heath, if he can get this done, he can be back into the top 4, top 3 here quickly.
I mean, Zach, this is incredibly impressive by Heath to make his way up front, kind of fell back towards the beginning of the race, then made his way back up to the front, got into that issue, hit the inside barrier around halfway through the race, and now he's fighting his way for 4th, and he's showing his speed. He's quicker than the 98 right now, that last time by. And this 13 is the one to watch out for. Now, he had issues working through lap traffic. He fell about 2/10 further back behind the leader, Ronnie Osmer, who's kind of checked out from the field a little bit. Now has over half a second. Oh, we got a caution here, Zach.
We do caution on the speedway, and I believe it was involving. I thought it was Matthew Shelby and Coulter Clark there, but oh, sorry, there's a car in the back straightaway somewhere parked on the outside wall there. So I believe that was Brendan Maddox. Yeah, Maddox. Oh wow, yeah, the 23 here all by himself. He was about 13 laps down. This is going to be a whoopsie if I've ever seen it here, and this was right in front of the field, and man, oh man, this is not what a lot of drivers I think wanted to see here. Is Maddox just out here completing laps? He got destroyed. Remember in that early incident between him and the 24 of Sutherland, you can see there that car is bottoming out on the entry of the corner, throwing the sparks here. He's going to come off a 4. Everything's all good and dandy. Or sorry, this is 2. He's good and dandy. He's going to come off the corner, and you see steps out on him sideways. He's going to try to get it back going, and here's the field. So, yeah, whoopsies on the 23. He's going to pull left here, let everybody go by. And, man, oh, man, this is a interesting situation because look at this, Hunter. The field split decisions. Osmer, Wolsifer, they stay out, but Johnny Wood Jr. comes down. I think you're going to have the likes of Jared Hughes stay out, and I believe one other car. Oh, no, Dustin Stones is a lap down, and the other one's the 23. So we're going to have 3 cars on the lead lap stay out. This is what is going to make things interesting. Fresher tires all around.
I would have liked the call by the 15 there if he had more cars stay with him. I mean, Zach, we got about 33, 32 laps to go here when we take the green flag again. And if it stays green, I just can't see these 2. Let's see, we got about 3 cars here stay out that are on the lead lap. Yeah, I can't see it, especially with how strong we saw the 13 of Kyle Heath. But at the same time, these drivers struggle on the inside. It doesn't matter if their tires are fresh or old. This is definitely going to be an interesting one here. A lot of drivers taking right side tires here, actually. I believe the 13 of Kyle Heath is the first car in the field that's on 4 fresh tires, and he still has about 6 cars in front of him. So,
yeah, I'd have to agree. I was expecting 2 tires there, Hunter. So this is setting things up for a wild start or a wild finish here. And if anything, if we get 10, 15 laps here in the green, and Osmer, Wolsifer, and Hughes decide to come down, the problem for them is I think majority of the field's going to stay out, and they're going to lose a ton more track position. So this is kind of made their bed, so to say, when it comes, I think, to their strategy, Hunter.
Oh, absolutely. If the 15 stayed out here, he's staying out the rest of the race, 100%. And same with the 56 of Wolsifer. We've seen it. Track position is so super important here that the 15's like, it doesn't matter. I have the clean air. It doesn't matter how old my tires are. But also, I think it gets to a point. This track is so tough on the tires and so tough with how tight the car handles, and the better it does with cleaner tires. Now, granted, it isn't like a track like Dover where you kind of feel like Superman when you're on fresh tires. It's still very difficult to pass here, but I mean, Ronnie Osmer, he's got to be on roughly 40, 50 lap old tires in comparison to now a lot of the cars behind him on brand new right side tires, and even some on brand new full sets of tires. So 34 laps to go and we take the green flag here, Zach. I can't see Osmer or these 3 cars who stayed out holding on to their front spots very long.
I have to agree with you, Hunter. I think this is going to be a interesting situation here, folks. Osmer here, Jared Hughes on the front row, Richard Wolfsfer on old tires on the outside, but it's Johnny Wood Jr. on the 2 tires on the bottom. Who will figure it out as they take off and go green flag racing? Osmer out front, he's off and away.
And that 15 with an incredible jump. We've seen it the entire day. Just these leaders with with the control of the restart that they're able to hold a really, really good jump and a really just almost 3/10 lead going out of exit of 2 here. Now here we go, 3 wide between the 19, the 13, and the 55 here. These drivers are fighting for every inch they can get. They don't have much time to work with, but man, that 13 of Kyle Heath is fighting hard.
And he is. Kyle Heath, the only driver to take 4 tires, really, of the people who pit. He's coming forward here quickly, trying to make use of the 4 tires, but just right now stuck to the inside of the Caden Perkins. But right now, the fresher tires not prevailing for the time being. It's looking like everybody's holding station, but Jared Hughes definitely under threat as Johnny Wood Jr. is putting the pressure on up here. The 75 wants to be the one that goes forward. He wants a second win of the season for him.
That he does in the 56 of Wolfsfer just couldn't keep up. He fell back all the way to 4th already. Now with the 27 of Christian Barnes fighting hard on his outside. These old tires are just already struggling as expected, Zach, and we still have 32 laps to go before we take the checkered flag here. 15 of Ronnie Osmer. Look at that 75 of Johnny Wood Jr. sending it into the corner there. He's showing his fresher tires there. Oh my goodness, Zach. And now we got the 27 fighting hard.
The 56 of Wolfsfer hard into the back straightaway gap, and we have a huge wreck here on the exit down the back straightaway.
Oh, wow. Man, and the 13 Heath is around as well. Oh, my goodness. A hard, awkward angle hit for the 56 there. Completely exposed that front right side tire there. His car's junk's kicking up sparks right there. But, man, Zach, the 27 goes hard on the 56 and then awkward angle and just sends it right into the wall. And the 13 of Heath, I believe, went around as well.
Man, it looks like the 27 there, yeah, just a little loose off the exit corner. Just when he got loose, he just kept crowding down the track here into the 56s. That's off of 4. We'll see how this all works out. I mean, it's so hard sometimes to hold on to these race cars, and I think unfortunately for this time, the 27 was just trying to gather it up. But unfortunately, he's put into the doors. Oh, a little bit of door off the exit. I don't know if maybe the 27 was dissatisfied and made that contact more, but made that contact between them to upset that car that sent him back into the 56. So you see Heath getting caught out by trying to get around it. But man, oh man, Hunter, crazy scenes here from Gator.
Absolutely, and you got to feel it for the 13 car. He got in that issue towards the middle of the race, worked his way all the way back up, trying to fight for that victory, and now finds himself spinning again, riding on board here with our commentator of Sam Dyer with Freaky Fast Racing. And oh man, you just see him checking up the 13th of the field, sends it through the grass, and he's able to hold on to it there. But oh man, what a bumpy ride for that 35 of Sam Dyer.
Yeah, wild scenes for him. I mean, he's up to 13th right now, so he's once again trying to get a good solid finish out of the night, and we'll see how that works out for him. But Richard Wolfsfer, after that incident, required damage in pit road. He's sitting there. See the 13 of Kyle Heath. He's come to pit road to get tires on that car out, to get service after his spin round. But Ronnie Osmer out front here, Hunter, able to control still with those fresher tires, but man, with the older tires, he is going to be under threat here coming to the end of this race.
Yeah, and like you saw, that 75 absolutely sent it into 1 and 2, and it stuck. It stuck to the point where he was 3-4 car lengths behind the 15 of Osmer and was all the way up to his bumper, and he was halfway through the corner. So the 75 of Johnny Wood Jr. not holding back at all, and especially with the track where these guys are so aggressive, we're seeing cautions every 10 or so laps, and now that we're getting to 30 to go right now, 29 to go now, I don't see him getting any less aggressive, Zach. In the 75, I think we've seen it. Just clean air in track position is so much more important, that the second you get that clean air to your nose, you kind of set sail, especially with the 75 on much fresher tires than the 15.
Definitely much fresher tires here than that 15 and that 75 camp. He's going to restart behind him, like you said, and This is going to set things up for quite the finish. Matthew Shelby up to 4th. Also, got to give him a huge shout out. He took 2 tires in that last caution. Same for Christian Barnes back in the 5th position. Then you look to Carl Pooler. He's the first car on 4 tires, so he'll be up in 6th. Cameron Gilmore after tonight, he's in 7th. Caden Perkins there in 8th. Zachary Bramble in 9th, and Coulter Clark rounding out the top 10, as it has been a night of survival, a night of getting through it. 15 cautions for 44 laps, only 3 lead changes, but it has felt like a ton more because it has been swapping hands all around here at the Gateway Raceway. As here we go into the restart zone, and Ronnie Osmer is off the way. Another great start for him, but it's Johnny Wood Jr. able to pull alongside the Jared Hughes here in the 2nd row. This is going to be his opportunity. Try to get clear and take the fight to the 15 on the fresher tires.
And the 15, just as expected, was able to control the restart and get a really good jump. But now the 75 of Johnny Wood Jr. only 2/10 back, less than 2/10 now, closing that back bumper in the corner. And Zach, he's just able to roll it through the corner so much better, even through center. And there he goes. You can see on board, riding on board with 75 of Johnny Wood Jr., just able to get right up to that back bumper. It's just very tough with that dirty air, Zach, that I don't know how big of a difference that these fresher tires can do with. Oh man, the 15 goes way up the track, and the 75 will thank him as he goes on the inside, and he's going to clear him coming off of exit. 75, Johnny Wood Jr. to the lead.
What a move. Ronnie Osmer misses the corner. Johnny Wood Jr. patiently slides by, but here comes the 15 diving back to the inside, but the 75 going to be in the much preferred spot. Give it to Johnny Wood Jr. He wants another win to add to that total after winning at Bristol. This 75 is on a mission here to get a second one as he's out front and trying to drive away. Now Osmer going to look back to the likes of Derek Hughes, Matthew Shelby farther behind. Can he hang on, or can he take the fight back to him? As behind this field, Zachary Bramble trying to take the fight to Cameron Gilmore for 6.
And Zach, I think that's just about done it for Ronnie Osmer. I think he took that gamble knowing that he had the track position in the clean air, but now the 75 of Johnny Wood Jr. has much fresher tires and now even has the clean air to his nose. I think he set sail, and looking throughout the field, now these drivers are fighting for as much as they can. 27 hard on the wall, Christian Barnes. These guys are fighting hard throughout the field. Look at the 35 of Sam Dyer now in the middle of a hornet's nest. These drivers, even throughout the fight, in the entire field, fighting from 12th all the way back to 17th. They're fighting for each spot that they can get.
That they are fighting very much tooth and nail right here. But it's the 27 of Barnes who kind of slid back on this restart here. He's back to 9th. He's down to like the threat of Evan Patenko on the 81 machine. Can they do battle here off the exit of 4? As you can see that outside wall before getting used up once again by majority of this field.
Yeah, and throughout the entire field, they're just fighting for everything together. You can see the 81 really hard in the rear bumper, the 27 of Barnes. And there it is, Kyle Heath as well in the 13. Still not giving up, fighting for each spot he can get. And with someone who's winless still, the 13 of Kyle Heath, he can take every point he can get, especially with the success he had in the first stage. Now he's just fighting for every position that he can take with these last 25 or so laps. And Zach, I mean, the 13 has just been one of those drivers all night where he's been in bad luck, but he's been able to keep a clean car as much as he can, at least. Keep a clean car and just get as many spots as he can, even though he starts in the back of the field.
Yeah, he can. And right now, Kyle Heath trying to make the rebound back through after that spin. He's up to 11th here, looking to the inside of Barnes. And he can get past. It'll be a huge critical moment for him. But Carl Pooler up here, up to 4th. This is huge for Pooler. He's trying to make a charge here on the 90. And he was here to get to the top 3. If Pooler could get up to top 3 tonight, that would be a huge night to go in the right way for that 71 team.
Absolutely, and the 71 had issues earlier in the race. He got collected in an accident with the 51, and now he's just able to set sail. I mean, 4th place right now for Carl Pooler. Very impressive that he's able to get his car fixed up and run so successfully throughout the field. Only about 22 laps to go here, about to take 21 when they reach the start-finish line. But Zach, you know, I was expecting the 15 of Ronnie Osmer to fall off. I was expecting him to really fall throughout the field, but now he's closing the gap between the 75 of Johnny Wood Jr. He was half a second back a few laps ago. Now he was closing it to only 3-4 car lengths. Now he's spreading out a little bit more again. But the 15 of Osmer, I thought he'd fall off like a cliff, but no, he's still running really good even on those older tires.
Osmer doing a great job in that 15, and I think the big thing is the 75 kind of runs like a line that allows the 15 to get actually some decent air on the nose in 3 and 4, and that really helps him get through the corner. But I think as he gets closer, it gets tougher and tougher. We've seen all night. He's looking at behind Carl Puller. He's going for on the inside for a moment. He thought to look down to the inside of the 98, backed out of it before that. But man, great racing going on there. Also got Cameron Gilmore. He's under threat back here from Caden Perkins in the 19. The same for Kyle Heath. He's got around Patenko. He's now up to 9th. So he's trying to break his way possibly into the top 7. This has been great racing all around throughout the field right here, closing out this race.
Absolutely. And Zach, Kyle Heath up to 9th, back in the top 10 after all the issues he's had in the race. That's the spin he had not too long ago. And now he's fighting back there. You can see him swerving around. The 19 of Perkins is not giving up that spot between them. It's Kyle Heath now going to move up to 8th. He will clear him. And, oh my goodness, man, this 13 has just been the driver to know and understand this track. He's not had the luck to follow him.
Definitely not had the luck there to follow him, but this has been great nonetheless to watch here as this 88 machine trying to find some momentum to go forward here. But Coulter Clark fighting around the outside there. The 27 of Barnes who continues to drop back. It's just been a heavyweight fight back here. And Sam Dyer even up to 12th there for him. So he's pulling away from that group in there. I think we had some contact farther up ahead between some of these drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. And that 35 of Sam Dyer is right off that playoff cut line. Or trying to get as many points as he can at least. I believe it is 12 drivers for this playoff format, Zach. Am I correct? Or is it 16?
I believe it's 12, yes.
12, okay. Yeah, so Sam Dyer is absolutely fighting for every point he can get. Currently 14th and only 7 points behind Dylan Yeager, who is 1 point off of the cut line. So right now Sam Dyer, I'm sorry. Sam Dyer's 14th in points right now, so he should be 2 points to the good from the cutoff line. But still, for a driver like himself who's winless, he definitely wants to get any point he can right now. Sitting in 12th with a clean car, definitely not a night to complain about.
Definitely not something to complain about. But Carl Puller up front, he's trying to get that 3rd spot. He is going to the inside of Jared Hughes, and he's trying to make it work here down into 1 and 2. Hughes a little bit turned in there, had to go right a little bit. That opens up the door. I think the 71 might have here on the exit. He's going to close the door. There's going to be a little bit of contact between those two. But Puller up the 3rd, and he's looking to hold on to the podium.
Oh my goodness, Zach, you couldn't fit a piece of paper between the 71's bumper and the front nose of 98 of Hughes. He shut the door on him, and he shut it fast. He had to have heard clear, and he immediately moved up the track there. That was one heck of a move by the 71 of Carl Puller, but up to 3rd place now, and the 98's not holding back here. Now we got the 46 and the 55 of Zachary Brandvold. Oh my goodness, we got hard racing all throughout this top 5 here. 46 now going to cross him over, not giving up. Now he's going to look on the inside. Got cleared again, so he's going to move behind the 55, but here comes the 13 of Kyle Heath, looking for that 6th spot on the 46 of Matthew Selby.
Everybody looking for positions. Heath has been the man on the move up to 7th, trying to possibly get a top 5 out of all of this. If he got a top 5 out of this, I think Heath is going to be a man that's satisfied after everything he's went through tonight as Puller starts to pull away from that 3rd position with Hughes. Heath, though, putting the pressure on Shelby. He's to the inside off the exit at 2, and he's got an opportunity here down to 3.
And that 13 has just been so strong all day. He just hasn't had the luck to capitalize on it, but now he goes on the inside of the 46. I believe he has much fresher tires and should be able to make that pass, and he will sled up right in front of that 46 machine, And man, that 13 of Kyle Heath is just so strong around here. It's like he understands it so much better than everyone else. Even with all the luck he's had today, he's been able to fly through the field. And now he's right on that bumper, the 55. You can see how hard he can set it into the corners.
Gains all that time on entry, lost a little bit on exit there, gained a ton there on entry. So I think he's playing that game, a gain on entry, give up as little possible on exit. But right here, looking at 98, Hughes up the track. Brandvold down the inside. He's able to make the pass, but Hughes trying to fight back to the quarter panel, but the 55 has it done up the 4th for Zachary Brandvold. And he's looking forward too because Carl Puller, last time about 3/10 slower than him. Brandvold is a man on a mission right now. And I also could say Brandvold's got some of the best tires too.
Yeah, absolutely. And the 98's kind of fallen off a little bit now. The 13 of Kyle Heath on the back bumper of the Hughes, and now 55 of Brandvold able to make his way around him. But now Carl Pooler, who kind of set sail for that third place position, is not really setting sail as much as he wanted to. Now he's clipping that outside wall, and now we have a four-way battle all the way up to third place, all the way back on to sixth. He's with only 10 laps to go, 11 laps to go here, Zach. These drivers are fighting for every inch they can.
Again, you see Heath there looking high, looking low, trying any which way he can find to get some speed around that 98. That would push him into a top 5 spot, and it's crazy to say he can still get third after it's all said and done. But right here, Gray Walker, last week's winner, he's going to move the pass on to the 81 Evan Patenko. That moves him into a top 10 spot. So last week's winner continuing the roll forward from last week.
Yeah, Zach, and without a caution, I think the 75 of Johnny Wood Jr. is almost checked out of the field between him and Osmer. Osmer's kind of closed it a little bit, but now just loses the gap again, about 7/10 of a second, a little less than a second gap here between 75 and Johnny Wood Jr. He perfectly played the strategy here, and with the top 3 through 6 battling with each other, now we have Kyle Heath, who just moved up in the 5th place. He's kind of just set sail, just not really worrying about it, letting the laps tick down here, and if we stay green right now, I can't see anybody giving 75 a run for his money.
It's going to be tough to do that for sure. 109 laps to go here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway here for the Scootielou 200 for the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series. It has been a pleasure to call the action tonight, and winding down here, this is going to be a fantastic finish. Johnny Wood Jr. looking for a second win of the season. Same for Ronnie Osmer. Both these drivers have been the 2 strongest maybe contenders to that double zeros thrown so far throughout the season, and they want to close the gap down, because guess what? Stallings tonight may have won stage 1 and 2, but going to be finishing back around the 15th position for the time being, with that car being very hurt with damage.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the 75, I know these laps can feel like an eternity, especially when you're way out in front of the second place, knowing that you just want to get these laps over with as the leader. And right now, I mean, it's just this battle between 3rd, 4th, and 5th is just, I mean, it's only 2/10 between 3rd and 5th. I mean, these drivers are driving so hard between each other right now, with the 15 right on the back bumper, the 55. Now he looks on the inside, the 13 of Kyle Heath on the inside of Brandvold. He's trying to look there, and he's able to get dead even with them, but you could just see how dominant that outside line is. The 13 not able to do it. Now the Carl Pooler trying to hold on for the best of his ability to 3rd place.
And he is. Pooler trying to hold on to that podium spot. He wants to be able to take that home. Also, he's got the problem, though, is because Ronnie Osmer, he's starting to fall off a little bit. He's falling back into the clutches of these 3. That's going to give the air on the nose of that 71. That's going to cause issues for him, as now Brandvold takes a look to the inside. Pooler wants to hold on to this, and look at this, Brandvold now going to make the move, the dummy move from the inside to the outside, and the 55 might have played that perfectly, but I think you're going to see Carl Pooler, close the door here on the exit with a good exit off of 2. So this is great racing here coming down to the end, and we're going to be 5 laps to go next time by.
And the 55 of Brandvold now. Whoa, what a move by the 13 of Kyle Heath, who sends it in that corner. We've seen it. He has that entry speed, but he gives up a lot on exit, and now he's just not able to clear that 55 at all, and I think the 55 will clear him going into 1 and 2. But there goes the 13 again, sending it hard into 1 and 2, high up towards the wall at the 55. He's actually going to lose that spot to the 13 of Heath, and now the Heath is looking on the inside of the 71 of Carl Pooler, looking for 3rd place.
I think this was Pooler's worst nightmare, is seeing that 15 or 13 slide up into the 3rd position, because he knows that 13 is going to be willing to send it, willing to move, make the move that possibly could be the move that knocks Pooler out of the podium. But looking back to that 13, the 71 is going to be resilient. He's going to fight for this.
Zach, I got to tip my cap to the 13 here. That's unbelievable. He's 2 major incidents today for the 13, and he's still able to move his way up into the top 3 on that 71 of Carl Pooler. Only 4 laps to go here, so the 13 has to crack down here. 75 of Johnny Wood Jr. now with a 2nd lead. He's fairly comfortable, just hoping to not see that caution flag and to take that white flag.
Wood Jr. looking for another win. 3 laps to go here for the Scootielou 200. As you see farther behind his teammate at Limitless Esports, it's Carl Pooler fighting hard with the 13 of of Kyle Heath, and he does a power move round the outside on the entry, and I didn't think it was going to stick. It does. Heath side by side with Pooler now down the back straightaway. The battle for third rages on.
And it rages on indeed. The 13 is actually able to clear easily to the 71. Now moves himself into the third. I mean, this is incredible, Zach. The 13 has been the car of the day. Even if he doesn't get the victory here, I mean, this is unbelievable. He has been able to show his power in the long run, and it's incredible. We have 2 laps to go here now, Zach. I don't know if he can make it to the 15 of Osmer, but right now, Johnny Wood Jr., the last thing he wants to see is that yellow flag fly.
He does not. Johnny Wood Jr. has been excellent all night. Kept his nose clean when he had to in the early stages. Made the right strategy call as the cards fell his way. And this 75 took the lead from the 15 with a move that maybe the 15 will be regretting when he goes back and looks at it with the mistaken one. But the 75 took advantage of it. It's your freaky fast. White flag. 1 lap to go here at the Gateway Raceway as he heads down the 1 and 2 for the final time tonight. Johnny Wood Jr. just needs to be mistake-free if he wants another victory in the bank.
Yeah, Zach, and that 13 is getting awfully close to the 15 of Ronnie Osmer, but it just won't be enough to get in that second place position. And Johnny Wood Jr. is going to set sail. He doesn't even have to look in that rearview mirror. He's over 7/10 of a second there, and Johnny Wood Jr. is going to be your winner tonight at Gateway.
Here he comes. Johnny Wood Jr. wins the Scootielou 200 here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway, and what a job by him. Second win of the season. Ronnie Osmer comes home second. Kyle Heath third. Carl Pooler fourth. And rounding out your freaky fast top 5, it was Zachary Brandbull. What a night of racing we had here at Gateway, and Johnny Wood Jr., the man who pulls it all off, he's going to get that second victory of the season and be celebrating here in Missouri.
An incredible victory today for that 75 of Johnny Wood Jr. It almost felt like a battle of attrition, and I still got to tip my cap there to the 13 of Kyle Heath. I mean, that's unbelievable. He was a few hundreds short of taking that second place position from the 15 of Ronnie Osmer. It's just an incredible drive for the 13 today, but Johnny Wood Jr. was showing his strength here at Gateway. Now he's going to light it up on the front stretch.
He is Wood Jr. celebrating the thrills of winning on victory right here at the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series. He knows how special this one is, the second one of the season. This one could propel him, and look at that. He doesn't even care about that car anymore. That thing doesn't need to be clean and pristine. He can hit that wall as much as he wants. As the 75 burns it down here and celebrates on the front straightaway here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. We're going to step aside here and get ready for our post-race interviews tonight, as it has been a classic here at BRB. All right, we are back here, folks, for our post-race show here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. That's the Scootielou 200 after Johnny Wood Jr. getting the victory. But first, before we go to our post-race interviews, we're going to have a chat here with one of the league admins and owners here at BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series, and we're going to get a word from them as we're going to pull Adam Buzzio up here to the booth with us, and we're going to get a word from one of the league owners here.
Yeah, hey guys, thanks for pulling me in real quick. First of all, shout out to Johnny, well-deserved win. Just wanted to come up real quick. You guys have been great. Thank you so much for partnering with us again and broadcasting this summer stretch, if you will, of races. We really enjoyed having you guys, and we appreciate the coverage and just all the different things you bring to our league. Just wanted to say thank you to you guys, and I haven't been up here in a while doing race controls, so just a quick shout out to all the sponsors and everyone for tuning in tonight, and thank you to the drivers. I know we had some yellows, but it could have been a lot worse for Gateway, so appreciate everybody.
Oh, no doubt, Adam. We appreciate you guys so much for allowing us to come here for this summer stretch and be a part again of the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series. And I tell you what, you guys have done an excellent job these past few weeks. I know for myself, Hunter and Robert, we've all enjoyed it very thoroughly up here in the booth. So thank you guys for letting us come on board and bring the story all to these fans out here at the track.
No, of course, but yeah, you guys picked up at a good time. We kind of cracked down on a couple things, and the racing's been a lot better. So hopefully that continues and have a good closeout to the season here.
That it is. I think you guys are going to have an excellent one. We're all going to be tuning in and watching there on Pit Stop TV. Thank you again, Adam, and you have a wonderful night, and we'll continue on to our post-race interviews, but thank you so much for everything you've done for us.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
All right, there you heard it, folks, from the league owner himself, one of the managers here at BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series. That's Adam Buzzio. This guy is always hardworking. Everybody in the admin group there, always working super hard to make sure things run real smooth, and even stepped off the racetrack. So you got to give them guys a huge hand. They, stepped away from something they love to make sure something they also love can prosper. And it's definitely been, I think, a great transition for these guys just watching from the outside looking in. So again, shout out to Adam Buzzio there for thanking us not only, but also allowing us to come and be a part of this journey with everybody. But now we'll move on to our race interviews. We'll get to our race winner, and that was Johnny Wood Jr. in the 75. Let's talk to him after his second race victory this season. Hey, Johnny and Zach up in the booth. You got a copy?
Oh, yeah.
Well, man, second win of the season after that win there at Bristol. Take us through it here, man. You made the right call, it seems, at the right time, and were in the right position when that 15 made the mistake.
Yeah, that I want to say it was the second to the last pit cycle or caution or whatever. And me and Carl and Richard was kind of me and Richard was kind of debating on staying out or taking two, and I was like, man, I'm gonna take two because I've lost 2 races so far with fuel strategy. So I'm like, I'm gonna take two, take a little bit, just a tad bit of fuel. That way I have no excuses. And it seemed to work out. I was kind of thinking that, working around Ronnie would be pretty hard, and he just kind of opened the door, and I was like, oh, hell yeah.
Definitely will take that, Johnny. But I tell you, with him opening the door like that and making that mistake up the racetrack, how do you think you still would have had enough? Because we know you did have a little bit, of course, the advantage with the two tires, his older tires, but it did seem like passing that leader tonight was very difficult to do. I mean, we saw maybe only 2, I think, lead or passes for the lead when it was green, actually.
Yeah, I've done it a few times during the race, but if you run it as long as you get a good run coming off of 4, if you get a run down the straightaway, you can take it into 1 extremely low and just roll the bottom to where you can pretty much roll past them and then stop and let them hit you and then drive it off. I was going to try that, but he, like I said, he kind of opened the door and I didn't have to pull that move on him. So I had that in my pocket.
Definitely always good to have that in your back pocket for next time, especially. But Johnny, we got 2 races to close out the regular season, Rockingham and Homestead. You're now tied with 2 wins for the most wins of this season. So how do you feel about that? And also heading into these final 2 regular season races.
Yeah. I mean, last year, I don't think I ran Rockingham, and Rockingham's pretty rough. So I'd like to see how that acts with this new car setup. I know this car it would hit the ground when we get into 1 and 3. Once you would apply the brakes and throw it down in fourth gear, it looked like it just hit the ground. Sparks would come out. So that'll be interesting to see what happens and how it acts at Rockingham. I got a feeling it might be a lot of spins.
It's definitely going to be an interesting time. I think we guys head to the Rock. But before we let you get out here and go celebrate this win here tonight, Johnny, anybody wants to shout to in victory lane?
Yep, my dad, my 2 cousins, they always watch, and Renewal by Anderson and Richard for all the paints that he gives us.
Alrighty, there you heard it first from Johnny Wood himself, folks. That is your Raceway here tonight. Johnny, you have a great night, and we will catch you. We won't catch you next time, but hopefully next time you'll be in up front there, and we'll be watching on Pit Stop TV.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate it.
All right, there. Like I said, heard it from our race winner there, folks, of Johnny Wood Jr. Now we're going to move down to our second place driver, Ronnie Osmer, and what a night he had. Almost bringing home that victory, but the 15 going to be a close call for him. Hey, Ronnie, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Well, man, I tell you what, an excellent run here tonight. Just, I think, one little mistake, unfortunately, taking you out of position at that lead, but hanging on with those older tires to keep it that close. Take us through it, man, because you definitely, once you got past, it wasn't over.
Yeah, I knew Johnny was going to be a challenge with him having fresher tires. And first time and the only time all race, my fronts lock up, which is right there where he's close enough to get past me, and was just doing everything I could to stay with him. And I was better than him in 1 and 2, and I could stay with him in 3, but just turn 4 with the dirty air and older tires. He could just fly away from me every time, and there was nothing I could do. And just tried everything I could to get to him, and couldn't do it.
We kind of seen that all night with a lot of people trying to catch that leader, trying to make passes. You were one of the drivers that actually did make a pass under the green flag for the lead. Take us through how hard it was to pass tonight. And I mean, once you got out front, it seemed like it was smooth sailing for you.
Yeah, it was just with the dirty air that they've added in recently, is just as long as you're that lead car, unless it's a multi-groove track, you're impossible to pass. And you just have to have like a big tire advantage or just be at the right place at the right time for a mistake. And I was fortunate to be at the right place at the right time and with fresher tires to make a move for the lead. And then Johnny was the right place, right time for a rare mistake.
Definitely unfortunate with that mistake, Ronnie, but we got 2 strong tracks left this season, 2 completely different tracks left for the regular season, Rockingham and Homestead. How you feel about that closing out for the regular season?
Should definitely be interesting. Rockingham, no idea how the Cup car is going to drive there. And then Homestead should hopefully be a multi-groove race and be a lot of fun.
Well, Ronnie, I tell you what, congrats on a podium finish here tonight and bringing home that second place finish. Anybody wants to send a shout to before we let you go in?
Shout out my teammates at Southern Excitement Racing. You guys for broadcasting, Adam for running this league, and Celsius Energy Drink, and that's it.
All righty. Well, there you heard it from our second place finisher tonight, Ronnie Osmer. You have a great night, man, and we'll catch you out. I'll catch you hopefully soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right. That was Ronnie Osmer in the 15. What a night for him. We'll go on now. Step to the driver that may pass the most cars all night, and that was the 13 of Kyle Heath. Let's hear from him. Hey, Kyle, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I do.
Well, man, I tell you what a fight for you tonight, because, man, it was from pole position, unfortunately losing the lead early, and then after a few moments of being involved in a few wrecks, I feel like you passed more cars than any person out here tonight.
I think I hit every position but first. I started first, and I never seen first again. I think I hit every position there was on the track. It felt like, because I was from the front to the back to the back to the front. Man, I was everywhere.
It definitely was that type of night for you. I mean, like bringing me through that, like how difficult was it to pass? Because we see a lot of people struggle when they got back there, but it seemed like still you were one of the only people that could really make your way up and into like the top 5, top 3 area from farther back.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying my best, to give everybody room going into the corner because everybody else got their own, their break points. So as long as I can seem like I can break before somebody else, especially in turn 1, I can get a good run off for turn 2. And sometimes it was hard to get a good run down low. But as long as I can stay beside them and I can drive it in pretty deep in turn 3, I usually can get them. So that's how I was able to make my pass. As long as I was right there at their bumper going into turn 3, I knew I was gonna have a good shot about passing the car. But man, that last stint, that was the hardest I drove my car all night, and it actually made my car feel better. So that makes me feel bad, because if I would driven my car hard at the beginning, I probably at least could have been closer to the lead, at least stayed up there.
It always
But-
seems like it goes that way, man. But going into that last run, you had a little bit of a tire advantage. But like you said, I mean, it seemed like pushing really made those passes work. But those last few passes there at the end, that had to be some fun racing.
Oh man, that was so much fun. I mean, that's pretty awesome whenever you can have good, clean, white knuckle racing, trying to pass somebody, and the person trying to keep their position. But when you got that position, it was, you pretty much got it, because it was really hard for them to kind of come back to you. But yeah, it was a good bout. I'm one of these days I'm gonna cross that finish line first, hopefully. Then I feel more satisfied.
Well, I tell you what, Kyle, with the speed you bring week in and week out, I think that's inevitable at some point. It's good to see the finish go your way here tonight. We got 2 races left in the regular season, Rockingham and Homestead. How you feel about those 2 tracks heading up the next on the schedule?
I like Homestead. It's a pretty fun track. Rockingham, I don't really too much care for. Was it okay? I'm thinking about Richmond. Rockingham. Rockingham's a tough bout with these cars. I'll tell you that. Rockingham, I've won at Rockingham with these cars, but that was early on, whenever it was on official racing and stuff. But Rockingham's, that's a tough track, especially going in 1 and 2. Everybody's going to have different lines, how they're going to drive, and 3 and 4 are really going to be a helter skelter, because of the way the bumps are in the middle of the corners. It's going to be fun. I hope it won't be a caution fest. I don't see it not being a caution fest, but we'll see. It should be a fun race.
It's definitely going to be a wild one, that's for sure, Kyle. But before we let you get out of here, man, for your 3rd place finish here tonight, anybody want to send a shout out to?
Yeah, I give a big shout out to Races for Christ, allowing me to come in here and race. Big shout out to the broadcast team here. It's awesome. I've always enjoyed Freaky Fast. I've always enjoyed y'all since I met you guys. And for BRB, allowed me to come in here and race. It's been fun. There's been some friends made, there's been some rivals made, but all in all, we're racers. That's all we do.
That's for sure, Kyle. Well, thank you for the kind words, man, and you have a great night, and we'll be watching you the rest of the season.
Yep. Hey, I want to give a shout out to Hunter Hayward. I see he's right here. Hey, Hunter. How you doing?
What's up, Kyle? How you doing, brother?
Long
Good
time
race
no
today,
see.
sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Gotta love those shouts. Well, Kyle, again, congrats, man, and we'll catch you as the rest of the season goes on, buddy.
Yep, take it easy.
All right, there, folks. That was our 3rd place finisher, Kyle Heath. There, one of the best interviews out there for sure, and always a good, strong racer. Good to see him get a good finish there, closing out the night for that 13 as he drove his way through the field. But man, oh man, what a set of post-race interviews. What a race. It has been a blast to cover, but we're going to go ahead and pull up our unofficial results to see where these drivers finished out tonight. Scootielou 200 here for the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series, and it was Johnny Wood Jr., 2nd win of the season for him, won at Bristol, now the winner here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. And then you're going to see Ronnie Osmer with that unfortunate mistake late in the race, going to take him out of contention for that win. Kyle Heath there in 3rd. 4th is going to be Carl Pooler. Zachary Branville going to be in that 5th position. 6th is going to be Jared Hughes. 7th is going to be Cameron Gilmore. Great run for him. 8th is going to be Caden Perkins. 9th, Gray Walker, last week's winner from Indianapolis. And rounding out the top 10 is going to be Eric Jensen as we go farther through the results here, Hunter. Definitely some tough nights for some of these drivers throughout this list, but what a night of racing we had, and some of these guys down here going to be wishing for more, especially I think Richard Wolsifer is the one I think stands out to me more than anybody.
Absolutely, and a big pointed to the points leader, 0-0 of Dustin Stallings as well. Not the night he wanted. Now, a 16th place finish isn't terrible for him, but you know, the 0-0 with a 68-point lead, now falling back to Ronnie Osmer, who finished second place, is definitely gonna be a big points difference there. He did win 2 stages though, so he will get a lot of points there. So it'll be interesting to see how the points mix out going into their next race at Rockingham. But Zach, what a roller coaster of a race. We had drivers go front to back, back to front multiple times. We had drivers who made a whole bunch of interesting pit strategies, drivers who stuck with 2 tires, drivers who stuck with 50 lap old tires to stick with track position. But man, oh man, it was an incredible race, and these drivers really showed out today.
That they did, Hunter. It was very good racing. You know, we had a few cautions there, a few bumps and bruises there in the middle portion of the race, but the racing down towards the end was always a great time. It was really a pleasure to watch that racing there at the end, especially between those guys for that top 3, Carl Pooler, all those guys fighting for it. Shout out to Pooler too, he had a good run, and man, that was just some really great racing here at the BRB Buck Kicker Cup Series. And you know, it's a happy time here for us for sure that we were able to call all this action, but definitely a sad time too, as we're going to be departing here from the BRB Buck Kicker Cup Series for the rest of their season. But remember, you can go check them out on Pit Stop TV, so you can stay in tune with the rest of their season, see how these guys fight through the rest of the regular season, these final 2 races, then head to those final playoffs, because that is going to be a fun time. I know they're going to have a rightful champion in a very close battle when it comes down to the very end of this thing, when it's all said and done. Also, want to give a shout out to our producer, Robert Moyer Jr. up there, for always doing the work he does. He brought all this together, stepped off the racetrack to get in the booth and make all this happen for you folks to be able to see this summer stretch here for these guys. So it was not only a pleasure for him to ask me to come up here and do it, but also I got to give him a huge shout out for stepping out the track, coming out here and really being able to put on a show and you know, keep things together for these guys. So it was a pleasure with him. Also, shout out to Hunter Hayward. Thank you for coming up here in the booth too. It was a pleasure to call 2 races with you, like old time's sake, and hopefully we'll be hearing more from his voices. But Hunter, you know, any final thoughts from you before we get into our next couple races, talking about the next couple races here upcoming on Freaky Fast Broadcasting here as we close out with BRB?
No, absolutely. It was a pleasure to be back in the booth with you guys at Freaky Fast. Zach, I enjoyed calling some races with you. Robert, I enjoyed working with you guys. So it was incredible to be back in the booth with you guys. These are 2 awesome races to call. I'm looking forward to seeing what the future holds with you guys. But yeah, incredible racing today with BRB, and it was one I won't forget. So thank you guys for this opportunity, Zach. It was a pleasure to work with you guys.
Well, Hunter, you know, you're always welcome here at the Freaky Fast family. Thank you for stepping up, joining us here, and adding to the production value we have, and adding to everything here for all these folks who tuned in. They surely enjoyed your insights and your conversations here with me. But before we get out of here and get ready for our next stuff, definitely got to talk about what's coming up here for Freaky Fast, because tomorrow night we're going to have the WSSR Cup Series, of course, closing out their regular season. You talk about these guys closing the regular season out. You want some more next gen action? Well, check them out, because tomorrow night on Wednesdays and every Wednesdays here on Freaky Fast, we have the World Series of Sim Racing, and they're going to be closing out their regular season at Talladega, and there's 17 drivers fighting for 5 spots in the playoffs. So it is going to be up to a lot of fate, a lot of things on the line, and it is going to be, I think, some very wild racing to say the least. So make sure you tune in for that. You'll have our own Sam Dyer, Richard Wolsifer up here in the booth. Then also, we'll be going back next Monday. This is exciting to say. Xfinity Racing. We'll have the Trinity Racing League, as it is kind of the build up from the ISRC Truck Series into the Trinity Racing Xfinity League. It is going to be, I think, a fun time. I watched their duel last night. It was spectacular. So we're going to see some great Daytona action there. So if you like super speedway action, that's what we have in store for you there. So thank you again for everybody tuning in. Make sure you hit that like, hit the subscribe button if you want to stay tuned in to these races coming up. And congrats to the BRB Cup Buck Care Cup Series for putting on quite a show here at Freaky Fast. We'll be staying tuned, watching along with y'all at Pit Stop TV. Thank you all for tuning in. Y'all all have a wonderful night. God bless you all, and peace out.